So then, the All-Ireland minor final has ended in a draw. You know, there's been a lot of speculation that the senior match might be a draw. Could we have two draws here at Croke Park today? Perish the thought, spare the word. But Joe Brolly, that was as good a minor match as we've seen here. Well, we've seen some very good minor matches this year, but in a minor final.
It was very lovely football, I must say. It looked to me, and as I was saying at half-time, that Laois were more streetwise, and they played more purposefully in the second half, and really I think that the Dubs were probably a wee bit lucky to hang on. The Dubs did a wild lot of aimless solo running, and they looked a bit, to me, like their senior team. A lot of defenders that are very athletic, but not terribly good footballers, and 2 or 3 very good forwards that caught the eye, but generally the Dubs didn't look so much a Gaelic football team as the Laois boys did, and you always felt that Laois knew a bit more about what they were doing and what they were at, and I think that, you know, unless the Dubs step up the next day, it looked to me as if the balance was with Laois there.
Well, that may be true, Colin Murroth, but at the same time, Laois were losing this match up to the last couple of kicks of the game, and one of the last kicks of the game. Equalising point saved the day for them.
Yeah, and again, like Joe, I thought Laois were slightly the better team. They missed a lot. I think the game sagged halfway through the second half. There was a lot of bad wide from both sides, and as if the occasion got the better of them and when they got in sight of the finishing line. But I think Dublin really messed it up. They had a free in, and it was kicked poorly, and then Laois got one chance, and in fairness now, the Laois sub wasn't going to pass the buck on this one. He sets himself up well and sticks it over the bar for the equalising point. David Murphy, you know, he was under a lot of pressure kicking that ball. It was to save the All-Ireland, and I thought the referee was going to let it run a bit too long and maybe one side to get a point, because I don't think either side deserved to lose.
No, well, they'll both get another day out of it after a game like that was tight all the way through. For those who may have joined our programme a little bit later on and missed the first half of this match, we saw 2 great goals in the first half. Pat Spillane, Colm Kelly got one of those, the first one of the day, which was for Laois.
We did. I think you know, Colm was right. The game did sag in the second half. It wasn't as good a spectacle as the first half. The first half saw some tremendous scores, some tremendous football, and an absolutely brilliant goal here from Laois. And it was lovely forward play, lovely teamwork, and watch this very unselfish play from Colm Kelly to his namesake Colm Kelly, and a lovely goal. It was probably the best score of the game. Lovely work, movement, and clinical finishing. And as Colm pointed out at half-time, and the value of being able to hand pass with right and left hand is so important. First half very good, and a fair result, I would say.
Okay, gentlemen, well, because there's no presentation of the minor trophy happening here today, the Jubilee team who are being honoured here today has been brought forward and are about to be introduced to the crowd. This is the Kerry team of 1978 to 1981. And another piece of speculation today at Croke Park about who's going to win the All-Ireland. Well, why isn't Pat Spillane down with the Jubilee team?
He's too unpopular with his teammates. Not even they will speak to him.
I know I can't give an opportunity to the Armagh and to our own supporters, all 75,000, and to praise me and heap accolades on them. I think maybe 2 words come to mind, so chicken and yellow somewhere is somewhere in between. But I just want to keep a close eye on East so that he give due credit to what was the greatest football team of all time. Okay, guys?
All right, well, listen, if you want, Pat, we'll get Joe Brolly to go down and hold your hand and introduces the crowd. Micheál O'Herty is doing the introductions on the field.
Yes, that's the greatest Kerry team, as former President and Taoiseach there applaud.
As the Irish Nationwide Medical Society GAA Jubilee team for 2003. We'll begin with the goalkeepers that served in the 4 in a row, Charlie Nelligan and Paudie O'Mahony. Paudie's unavoidably absent, and his place has been taken by John McCarthy.
Charlie, of course, who did a lot of very good coaching with the minors after he gave up playing the game.
The full-back line in those years was served by Jimmy Deehan, who was the captain in 1981, John O'Keefe, Ger O'Keefe, Mick Spillane and Vincent O'Connor.
Well, that was some full-back line. John O'Keefe, of course, is the Irish International Rules Manager. That comes up next month.
Paudie O'Shea, Tim Kennelly, August Paudie Lynch.
Paudie is back.
Kennelly is unavoidably absent in Australia. His place has been taken by Noel Kennedy, his son, also an All-Ireland medal winner. Lord Parkinson away from the shoe to be Jack O'Shea, Sean Walsh, August Pat McCarthy.
The great Jack O'Shea, Sean Walsh there as well. Pat McCarthy, later with Kildare as a selector.
The forward line at various times was made up from the following. Ger Powell, who was captain in 1980, Ogie Moden, the captain in 78,
The big collective bow by the most magnificently talented forward line. Missing one, you know who. Wonder why.
Other defenders from the era were Tom Spillane, Johnny Mulvihill, Bernard O'Sullivan, Pat Sheehan and Gerard Griffin, who is now in Australia, represented today by his brother Leo.
And there's Tom Spillane, of course, together with Mick and Pat, the Temple No trio, who achieved so much honour and glory for the kingdom.
The Walsh brothers, Jackie and Barry, along with Diarmuid O'Donoghue.
All the other men who played their part in the glory years.
The manager of the team for all those years was Mick O'Dwyer, who is present here as usual in Croke Park today. For Micko Eleanor Down.
Well, Micko was up here in the commentary position watching the minor match a little while back.
Among the players who completed the 4 in a row are 5 players with a very unique distinction, each of them the holder of 8 senior All-Ireland medals. Shoku Ivarish, Paddy O'Shea, Ogie Moran, Ger Powell and Mikey Sheehy and Pat Spillane. They're the holders of 8 All-Ireland medals apiece.
And the Northern fans saluting the men who won all those medals.
I'm sure the spectre of Pat Spillane is out on the field now. The Rabina Mahadim Cohen is Stoker, Knock Beckford and the Haiti Reach. Fwyrn, Carrema Kiri, the Blian, the Nady, the Shakta Hawk, the Nady, Ochto Hail.
It really is hard to think it's 25 years ago we were watching these guys, the Bomber, etc. And Martin Carney, that was some team.
Certainly some team, Ger. If there was ever a term like awesome that could be applied to a team, that certainly was to Kerry. They were so skillful in so many areas of the team, and they had match winners throughout. And the great thing about them is they were so adaptable, Ger. They could play anyway, they could play it tough, they could play it clean. But they were one team that everybody wanted to go back and watch and watch and watch again. They were just magnificent to play against, great guys to play with also when they were in college. And God help you if you were their opponents. They normally humiliated you in those days.
I remember in 1960 and 61, Down came down here and mesmerised the public with their wonderful football. At that stage we called it total football. But total football is what I remember with these great players like Jack O'Shea there.
Well, total football certainly Mark II began, I think, in 1975. OK, they had a little blip for a couple of years, but when Jacko came in, he gave a new meaning to midfield play. And also the introduction of Bomber, I think, into the full forward line gave a complete different emphasis to the way they played. But the skill of Mikey, the skill of Jacko, the craft of Paddy Lynch, to my mind, the most underrated of the lot of them. Wonderful, wonderful player. And you could name any one of them and they would have graced any team and in any era, and it was a privilege to be on the same team as them.
So they're going to get the photographs taken. It'll be a very special one. And former Taoiseach Albert Reynolds there, the president of Sinn Féin, Jerry Adams, Martin McGuinness, who reminded me a little while ago that he is the MP for Tyrone, so I was wondering about a Derry background there, but he's very firmly supporting Tyrone this afternoon. And lots of other people involved in today's big occasion, and it really is an occasion, and you get that sense of occasion from the time you arrive here in Dublin and head towards Croke Park. The roads have been busy. There's a sense of excitement, a sense of anticipation as well. And you think, Martin, after all the domination of Ulster teams this year, I mean, essentially it is their season when you think that 3 of the 4 semi-finals came from Ulster.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lovely banner coming from Moy, and Moy is one of those towns on the border of both Tyrone and Armagh, and I'm sure there'll be great passion there today. But again, it's a very proud occasion for Ulster people, like an Ulster derby masquerading or doubling up as an All-Ireland final. And again, it's a novel pairing for an All-Ireland final, a day of great celebration and great anticipation, and something, Ger, we're really looking forward to.
We're looking forward to it. It may happen again, by the way, with the qualifiers and so on. We could have an All-Leinster final, Dublin Meath. It could be Galway versus Mayo. It could be Cork versus Kerry. That's
right. And again, it's just the turn of Ulster today, and again, it's a wonderful day, and certainly we're going to have one of the toughest and best and most riveting contests. This has been our pleasure, I think, to watch in a long time in the next half hour or so.
Sure, the personalities come from Ulster, but this is a national occasion. This is the 2003 All-Ireland football final, played in front of 79,500 people who've been lucky enough to get the tickets to get in here. And there's Cardinal O'Connell there of Dublin, and of course you've got Joe McDonagh, former president, Brian Cowan, government minister, and Pat Fanning, I see there in the shades, former president of the GAA, Nicky Brennan there at the back. Wonder, will he be a president at some future stage? Paddy Buggy, another ex-president from the 80s, round about centenary year, 1984. And this is what it's all about, the Sam Maguire Cup. And sometimes I think nowadays, Martin, it's just brought down to Dublin here to be polished and then taken back up north.
Very much so. Certainly Armagh last year treated with a great reverence, and they were wonderful champions, and certainly today whoever wins it, they'll have earned it the hard way.
Will it be orange and white or red and white? Michael, we'll know in about 2 hours' time.
Sure, we will, or we should do, unless, as we said, it's the little draw matter coming up later on. Who knows? Ger Kenny, Martin Carney will be back with them later on. Well, there's a message from some of the Tyrone supporters.
Couldn't agree with it more.
Absolutely. By the way, Pat, just we were referring back to you not appearing down with your colleagues, and you did mention the word yellow and chicken. We didn't, by the way. He could have gone down, because if they booed you, they would have to have booed Ogie Moran, the bomber list, and Mikey Sheehy and everybody else as well.
And they wouldn't do that.
This is part of the misunderstanding.
And they wouldn't have done that.
No, but this is part of the misunderstanding about Ulster Gales and about this match today. And you know, people talking about, oh, there could be trouble here today, which is a lot of nonsense, because no one could be more respectful of their GAA heritage than the Ulster people. And I can be sure that in spite of all the things that he said...
Do you want to accept my hate mail, Joe, instead of myself?
No, and the terrific amount of
from the north.
terrific amount of humble pie that he's been eating today, he would have got a very warm reception out there today, of course.
He would. Warm, I think, would have been. Certainly hot, yes, maybe.
Yes.
Did you give them an opportunity to praise that Kelly Fortner team yet? No.
It was a fantastic team. It was an absolutely fantastic team.
Yeah, well, I think that we're in the era now of teams changing over fairly rapidly.
Yeah.
It's a more competitive era, I suppose. Like, you know, I have to be said that Kerry played 3 games to win a lot of the All-Irelands, and a lot of them, like Pat, didn't have to play that many games to actually win a lot of All-Irelands.
Sure.
But that being said, they were so far in front of everybody else at the time. Like, I would say that I don't think I'll ever see as good a team, because each individual member, almost from start to finish, were very high quality footballers. As well as that, they were great team players together. They had a level of athleticism and skill which was out of keeping with nearly any of the teams of the time. I think that they were certainly the best that I have seen.
Okay, well, the best that we have in Croke Park today is Tyrone and Armagh coming up shortly. Tyrone due out on the field in just a moment, and Armagh will be the All-Ireland champions. The defending champions will be out second here today. Loads of speculation, obviously, going into this game, and the one speculation that we repeat again, Joe Brolly, is about Peter Canavan. The word is he's going to lead the team out, but will he play?
Well, I think that's very wise. I think it's most unlikely that he could be fit. I was speaking to Matty McGleenan just outside there, and he said that he hasn't kicked the ball. You know, so he was in plaster for 3 weeks. He was rehabilitating by jogging in the swimming pool and all of that. The first 10 minutes of an All-Ireland final was absolutely thunderous and breathless. And I mean, the hitting and the thumping that would go on there, and I don't think that he could possibly be fit. And the worst thing that could happen would be that he would start and come off. I mean, if there's a chance, if he's 50-50, for example, if the game was sort of still in the fire with 5 or 10 minutes to go, he would give a great lift to the Tyrone team coming on at that stage, but not in the early stages. And not if
he depends.
By the way, Colin, just might mention, I did a little piece at the border of some of you who were watching the programme earlier on. We went on air with the Sam Maguire Cup during the week. I just happened to have it up there at Blackwater Bridge, and I walked into a shop on the Tyrone side, just casually into a shop, because I knew there were big GA people, with the Sam Maguire under my arm, and they nearly passed away peacefully. And obviously we're hoping that they would see it again in a few days' time.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're hugely, this really, they've invested everything in this. I mean, I've been about Tyrone this last while. I was up on Wednesday night, and if they lose this game, it's hard to see how they could recover. I mean the general mood in Tyrone is that they'll win by at least 6 or 7 points, that they'll blitz Armagh today and they'll win by 6 or 7 points, and there is a euphoria sweeping the place that doesn't necessarily bear any resemblance to reality, but they will be so sickened if they don't win this today.
Yeah, well, it would be good for football if Tyrone could win. There's no doubt about that. I don't think they'll win, but I think the best thing for Tyrone, I think a county needs to win in All-Ireland for the people of that county to feel that they're sort of accepted. I think Armagh have a much better attitude to football in general since last year. I think it would be good for Tyrone, because Tyrone are a great football county, great tradition, and produce many, many great footballers. It would be good for them to have at least one All-Ireland.
Well, our panel obviously are featuring big time in some of the banners and messages that are around the ground. Colin, you're coming off like, so far in this. They're probably just waiting for you to eat your hat later on.
They give our...
This is the thing about the Northern crowd. I mean, they're on about my granny there. I never ever mentioned my granny ever on television. I mentioned my mother. So this is the thing about selective listening and selective reading of comments and not listening properly. Well, they do what half the time.
So that's part of the crowd.
They give our opinions on television much greater credibility, I think, than probably we deserve to do.
That's what we think as well, mind you. Pat Spillane, you mentioned something to me earlier on that we'll be talking a lot about Peter Canavan. One other aspect of this, Brian McGuigan, you've said, has been ill during the week.
Yes, Brian McGuigan has been in bed for a few days. He's certainly an illness, coming up to a big match like that, 70 minutes, so you need to be 100% fit going into a game. And Colm, I know, was a guy who suffered, I think, was it a virus in 91, and certainly it is debilitating, it is weakening, and you're not at 100%. And Brian McGuigan is the Trevor Giles of this team. He's the Greg Blaney, he's the orchestrator.
His father described him as a flu yesterday, sir.
Will he play? Will he star in the team? Will he just be a token captain leading them out onto the field? We don't know at this stage. We've heard all the speculation. But the fact is, Peter Canavan leads Tyrone onto the field for the All-Ireland football final. Look at the hill over there, and on the hill today you have Armagh supporters, you have Tyrone supporters, Dubs up there as well, obviously from the minor match and so on, but they're all mixing away greatly and obviously looking forward to this. Now, Peter Canavan, we keep an eye on him. Colm O'Rourke, as Joe, I think he said a moment ago, will he actually kick a ball here in the Little O'Rourke?
Well, I don't think there's any chance of Peter Canavan being fit to play. Now, he may play, but he's not fit to play because you cannot warm up for an All-Ireland with 3 weeks in Glasgow and 2 weeks not being able to do proper training.
Special day for Armagh last year when they won their first ever All-Ireland. Incredibly, they are back here 12 months later. Kieran Legini all set to lead Armagh into their second All-Ireland final in a row. And it's down to a T, isn't it, their preparation for this match. The little huddle even before they come out to be greeted by the crowd. The music is fanfare for the common man. These are not common men. These are the All-Ireland champions. Well, we mentioned that the supporters in the hill from Armagh and Tyrone were all together gathered on the hill. The two teams were gathered on the Hill 16 side as well there for a moment. I think Armagh got themselves sorted out now and they've come up for another little huddle. What do you think of all these huddles, Joe Brawley?
Well, that was very, very interesting indeed, wasn't it? Them running down to the same side.
I think there's not a crack.
No, but I think that those Armagh boys invest a lot in this. They're very serious, dour sort of people, and they have this sort of bond that's been created. I mean, it seems to work for them.
I think the show every team has to do that. Every team have to have a huddle now.
Yeah, but I think the point is there's a greater mental intensity about football in Ulster than there is in the rest of the country. They invest a lot of time. All these fellas that come through Queens, or an awful lot of them, they know each other very well. Even the slightest edge they think is important to each other. But we probably, and I certainly wouldn't feel that you need to get any more psyched up for an All-Ireland final than just actually being able to play in the game.
But this Armagh team are into the philosophy of winning. They've studied all sorts of different.
If you haven't psyched yourself up, no one else is going to
appreciate that. But
these huddles on that.
But the point is that it's something that they do, and it seems to have worked very well for them. I mean, last year they all wore a bracelet to signify their togetherness and their separateness from the rest of the world. This year they've got a mysterious symbol on their jersey. Yeah. And they take this very seriously themselves.
Well, I think that Tyrone may have a more laid-back approach in some ways than Armagh. I saw a picture during the week of Owen Mulligan photographed with Jordan. Now, I'm not talking about Eddie Jordan or Michael Jordan. Now, I think that Mulligan would probably want those bumpers to get through this Armagh backline today, but I don't think there'd be any danger of seeing John McEntee photographed in the same sort of position with somebody like that, or any of the Armagh team. So I think the Armagh fellas have a greater mental intensity than any other champions that ever won All-Ireland.
I was listening to an interview on the radio actually coming in that Robbie Irvine had done with Kieran McGeeney during the week, and he was talking about this point about coming back to defend the All-Ireland. It wasn't the physicality of it. It wasn't trying to be physically go through all the training again. It was the mental preparation that was required, and to be mentally up for it again.
It's a fair point. You know, we saw what we said was probably the greatest football team of all time. What was missing was the greatest manager of all time, the man who guided us, Mick O'Dwyer. And I saw the Irish rugby team during the week brought in Marvin Hagler as a motivator for the rugby team before going to the World Cup. The greatest motivator in Ireland in sport is Mick O'Dwyer. He filled the team with belief that they were good enough to win, belief that they could retain a title. And that's why Kerry stayed at the top for so long. That was the secret. Yeah. Irish rugby team could use him instead of Marvin.
So I mentioned the Irish rugby team. I'm talking about some of the dignitaries that are here today. Gary Longwell, Irish Rugby International, was here in the corporate box beside it. So was Pat Jennings, former Irish Northern Ireland Soccer International, of course, a Spurs and Arsenal player, looking very fit and well. Now let's talk about this man here. This is Brian White, who's the referee for this afternoon. An awful lot depends on Brian White in terms of how this game goes, and he's under very strict and definite riding instructions for this game, Colin.
Well, I don't know whether he gets instructions. If Brian White is not able to referee a game at this stage, then he doesn't need instructions. The danger, of course, is that Brian White may sort of read so much in the media, and the speculation is going to be a very negative game, that the first fella that does anything wrong, he issues a yellow card, and the next fella. And the next thing, fellas are going to be in trouble if they step over the line, they get a red card. I think Brian White would be a bit more sensible than that, but there is a problem that when Tyrone hunt down the man in possession, is it a free for him, a free against him? And that's where, you know, it's a tricky one for the ref.
Okay, gentlemen, toss the coin. Let's just see what's going on here at the moment, see what happens.
He's apologising for the 6-3s he can see the goal.
It looks from that to me anyway like Kieran McGeeney has won the toss.
He has won the toss.
And he's playing into the railway end.
Yeah. We are keeping an eye out as well, by the way, just to see if there's any definite instructions laid down, Joe, to the two captains by Brian White before the game begins. Final reminders, final words.
Part of the problem in refereeing in Gaelic football is that the rules of Gaelic football are a bit like the Catholic Church. You know, no one really quite understands what they are. And what you need to do as a referee, as you do what Pat McEnany does, you start off by judging the tempo of the game, seeing how hard it is, getting a feel for the game, as Colin says, before jumping in and reacting, you know, to things that have been happening in the media. You get a feel for the game, because you completely destroy the game if you start off by giving a lot of cards, as Colin says. And, you know, Brian White's generally speaking sensible enough. I mean, I would imagine, would you not agree, Pat, that he's probably...
Okay, Joe, thank you very much for that. So there's a man in the crowd. He's watching us. We're watching him. It's time to go back again to Gerard Canning and to Martin Carney for the team line-outs for today's All-Ireland final.
Thank you very much indeed. And we've had the toss. That was won by Armagh, and it'll be right to left in the first half, it appears, for them. Kieran McGeeney having made the correct call. And now a chance for yet another huddle before the introductions to the President. That'll be happening very, very shortly. Some more stretching as well by Mickey Hart's team. This the 65th and final scheduled match in the Championship of 2003. It all began in New York on the 4th of May and ends as usual here at Croke Park. And the added bonus in recent years has been the qualifiers. 24 additional matches, but in the end, by a quirk of fate, Armagh and Tyrone enter the fray, each having played 7 games to get this far. Manager Joe Kernan, what a record he has got here at Croke Park as a manager with club and with county. Well, we'll check on the team news, and the champions Armagh, as expected, name an unchanged formation for the 3rd match in a row. 11 of today's starters began last year's decider against Kerry. Paul Hearty has now taken over in goal from the retired Benny Tierney, while young Andy Mallon has been a permanent fixture this year at cornerback. Philip Loughran takes his opportunity with both hands in midfield and lines up alongside Paul McGrain. And technically the 4th newcomer is Tony McEntee, although he came on to play his part in last September's dramatic victory. And the biggest decision for the mentors was the selection of Ronan Clark ahead of Paddy McKeever, although the latter is among the subs. Plenty of good options available to Joe Kernan among his subs. People like Barry O'Hagan, John Toll and so on. Tyrone's management team went for reassurance. They announced their team on Tuesday night, but lingering doubts have persisted over the inclusion of captain Peter Canavan and cornerback Kieran Gourley. The up-to-the-minute situation is that Gourley is listed to start in spite of damaged shoulder ligaments. It's a defensive lineup that's been altered through necessity during the year, but the one constant factor has been the presence of wing-backs Conor Gormley and Philip Jordan. And while most of this team have All-Ireland medals at minor or under-21 level, the two wide attackers, Brian Dooher and Gerard Cablin, are looking to start their collection this afternoon. As usual, expect Enda McGinley to scrap for possession in deep positions, setting up chances for Canavan and Mulligan. Well, we're talking about subs, and you can see that very, very long list of subs available to Mickey Harte there. All the players in a circle right now hearing the final words of instruction, and off the list I'm looking at here you can see the names Collie Holmes, Stephen O'Neill, who played against Kerry, of course. They could well come on and play a very valuable part in this. And Martin, I was looking at Peter Canavan when they came out of the field, and for the first 5 or 6 minutes, very significantly, while he was doing a lot of running and stretching, he did not kick a ball.
Didn't kick a ball actually, Jordan. He went down then on one leg and started to adjust whatever strapping he has in his ankle, and it wouldn't surprise me actually if he actually doesn't start the game. Stephen O'Neill, when he came on for him in the semi-final, scored 3 very good points. So Peter Canavan's state of health is something we'll be casting a very critical eye on over the first couple of minutes. But again, just with Tyrone, they will be depending on a defensive game right from the word go. On average, Gerard, they have only conceded 8 scores per game to date in the championship, which is outstanding defending. They defend from cornerback right back to their goalkeeper, and they attack from goalkeeper right out. But it's the swarm defence. They're like wasps around a beehive, the way they come in on an opponent. And that's something today that it'll be fascinating to see how Armagh will react to that.
It certainly will. And now it's the time of another representative from the north, our President Barry McAleese, with GAA President Sean Kelly, and President McAleese on this day with a wonderful northern flavour to it, about to be introduced to the teams. So straight away, the President goes towards the team some people regard as the underdogs, but in yesterday's papers I noticed quite a number of the leading sports writers were going for Tyrone to win Sam Maguire for the first time. The fans look on as President McAleese meets Peter Canavan, player she knows and admires very well, I'm sure, and a chance to introduce his colleagues then. But just to go back to something you were saying a moment ago here, Martin, I heard a rumour on Wednesday last, we'll see if it works out or not, that Peter Canavan would lead the team out, would go through the presentation ceremony here, would march around behind the Artane Boys band, but that might then possibly be replaced.
Yeah, there was an awful lot of rumours in the 1960s about who shot John F. Kennedy, and there's been the same number of rumours coming out of Tyrone in the last couple of days. I mean, it's extraordinary actually. We've heard about Brian Dooher's injury, Brian McGuigan is ill, Enda Mulligan, there's something wrong with him in the corner, and now Canavan. But Canavan is the X factor. He has to be right for Tyrone to actually get the confidence to start well. And again, as we said, we'll keep a close eye there.
Brian White is introducing his officials. It's his 3rd final. He was in charge in 1997 and 2000 in the replay. And now it's the turn of the man they call Geezer, Kieran McGeeney, to introduce his players. And they're familiar with the experience, but it's still, I'm sure, something that you really have to pinch yourself on occasions to realise you're part of the biggest day in Gaelic football in any one calendar year. Fancy Bellew there.
Yes, well, what a captain to take up the cudgel for Armagh. He's been totally inspirational for them. He's such a solid individual, so stoical, so inspirational to all the guys around him. And his real power is his mental strength. Sometimes he lacks pace, all right, and he has a very, very weak right foot. But his sheer presence on the field seems to inspire others around him. And again, the free role that Armagh have devised for him this year has been critical to the recovery since their defeat against Armagh. McEntee coming back as a centre half this year from the corner has allowed McGee Matheny that extra liberty to go forward, and that is one subtle and very significant change from last year's All-Ireland run.
Would you accept, however, that McEntee isn't necessarily a particularly good man marker?
No, I'd agree with you completely there, actually, Ger, because what Armagh seem to do very effectively is mark space. Their sheer physical strength of getting 1 and 2 players around an attacker with the ball has the effect of actually making that person with the ball spill it. And again, that difference in physique between the two teams today may have the effect of actually Tyrone losing more possession than we have seen today in the championship.
So the Taoiseach there as well, and the Lord Mayor of Dublin, Royston Brady, and the Taoiseach, all in the Ard Comhairle section, ready to enjoy the match. After all the hype, it's still a game of football. The only thing is, it's the most important game of football they'll play this year. It's for the Sam Maguire Cup. And so Armagh are led by their captain, Kieran McGeeney, bidding to make another little bit of history, because not too many captains in recent years have managed to take the trophy back-to-back. You've got to go back to the 60s to Enda Colleran of Galway in 1965 and 66 when he held on to the cup 2 years running, and then only the late John Joe O'Reilly, who led Cavan to their 1947 and 48 titles. He was the last captain of an Ulster team to win back-to-back Sam Maguire Cups. Tyrone, of course, today bidding to be the 19th county to have the honour of being football's All-Ireland champions. It's not that all 18 before them have won the Sam Maguire Cup. Indeed, it was presented for the first time, I think, 1928. Kildare beat Cavan, and 3 counties who are champions, or past champions, never had the honour of having Sam in their county in the year in which they were champions. They're Limerick, Tipperary and Wexford. But the record books still show they're among the 18 counties who've have had the honour, at least, of being named champions for that particular year. And you've got to go back, I think, to 1961 for the last time when you had a county having won the title, playing against a county who've never done it. Then it was down against Offaly. That's
right, back in the time of Kevin Muss and Joe Lennon and those. And again, you know, I believe that was a time when they had a 90,000 crowd here when Down retained that title that year, Ger. But again, you know, a neighbouring county like Armagh are looking for immortality in putting back-to-backs All-Ireland. Interesting, earlier in the year, they looked to see how Cork went about winning their 2 in a row in 89 and 90. And again, I know they got a lot of help from Cork at that time, so it'll be interesting to see can they put that into effect.
Well, the one thing we haven't got so far, Martin, are predictions. Let's get some predictions now from our panel.
Thank you, Joe. We're going to start with Joe Brawley. Who's going to win the All-Ireland, Joe?
Well, I think that the first thing is that Tyrone want to accelerate out of the blocks the way they've done in every game, and Armagh's big thing in the first half will be to stop them, because Tyrone are great starters, Armagh are great finishers. If the game is in the balance in the last 10 minutes, Armagh's greater willpower and sort of composure will see them through.
Armagh for you?
I think so, as far as you can predict.
Yeah, well, I think Tyrone having a big advantage in speed, and they must be able to use that to win. But for today, I think it's an occasion for Tyrone, but Armagh are so cold. This is just a game to win, and I think if Peter is absent and Kieran Gurley's a problem, I think the balance of advantage has swung very much in favour of Armagh.
2 cautious nods for Armagh. Pat Spillane.
Well, we saw the intensity in the faces of the Armagh fellas, and they look like a bunch of fellas being lined up to be shot by an execution squad. That focus and that intensity to eke out a result today, it's Armagh, but a hesitant force.
They look like fellas, they're the guys who've got the rifles and are about to shoot down Tyrone. That's the view of the panel here. Ger, it's back to you.
Thank you very much indeed. Just one thing, Martin, looking through Armagh's campaign as champions, they were brilliant in the early stages of the league, then they faltered. They lost to Monaghan in round 1 of Ulster. That was it into the qualifiers. Got 2 handy games against Waterford and Antrim, and their best performance, I think, was against Dublin here at that stage in the championship. It has been said that they are there for the taking, but nobody's managed to take them yet.
Oh yeah, the Dublin game was the defining game, really. That's the game where they came good. And you know, speaking of Armagh, I used to love cowboy films when I was a child, and I used to love the one of the aging gunfighter who looked after his territory with the young hopefuls coming in. And Armagh remind me a little bit about that. You know, they're stubborn, they're kind of just looking at these young pretenders coming at them, and they want to be the last one standing. And quite honestly, I think Armagh just have that seriousness about them, that durability about them, that'll have enough to keep Tyrone in check to the final whistle.
It's a fascinating prospect, and the drama now to be played out between now and 5 o'clock. They've met in the championship course in each of the last 3 years. This is the 4th year on the trot that they're meeting in the championship. Armagh with 2 victories, Tyrone with 1, and there was a draw as well. And there's not an awful lot to choose between them in terms of the recent record. They know one another so well. You were mentioning Moy a little while back. And Moy is magnificent. It's the most beautiful village not too far from Benburb. I was there on Wednesday, and there's a lovely old taxi in the middle of Moy, and it's all painted in red and white, and it just says taxi from Maguire. And you walk down through the village, and it's all red and white and colourful and good-natured, and people are enjoying the fun and the build-up. And then you go to the other end of the village, and it's Kieran McGuinney's territory. It's Armagh. And there's an orange hall, in fact, up on the hill. I think it's Miller's Hill, I think it is. Well, the flags are everywhere. They're all orange and white and red and white. And it's all just part of the build-up, that it's so exciting, and people have been enjoying it. Let's hope they can enjoy the game now.
Yeah, for the participants, it's such a celebration of Irish life. It's such a celebration of their cultural identity, in particular the teams from the north of from Northern Ireland. And this is life or death stuff for these guys out here today, you know. And let's just hope, Jared, that the positive mood prevails. The positive mood that's in the ground, the positive mood that was around the ground and in the town all morning. And again, the thing that I'm looking to see, can Tyrone replicate the first 20 minutes of their game against Kerry and blitz Armagh? That would be fascinating to see.
What do you make of this? They are just single-minded. Kieran McGuinney and his team have stayed behind the band up to this point here. Tyrone broke and have gone for further stretches over there. Cormac McAnallen doing a little run here and there. 13 there is Enda McGinley. He'll be the extra man round about midfield, trying to build up and gain possession for Mickey Hart's team. His first season in charge, and it ends here in Croke Park on All-Ireland final day, along with Father Gerard McAleer and Paddy Talley.
Yes, it's such a craving for respect, actually, with Armagh. They want to be respected. They want to get this 2 in a row, to be put alongside all the greats of the past. And again, not a single detail has been left untouched. And the man on the right there, as we look at Joe Kernan, has orchestrated it so well over the last couple of years.
He's been a wonderful success as coach, as a player. He was a very fine player for Armagh. Played in the 1977 final against Dublin and was Armagh's leading scorer on the day with 2 goals and a point. And now it's the turn of the Celtic Tenors to take centre stage for the playing and the singing of Áran na Bhíon.
Áran na Bhíon will be played by the combined Artane bands, and all patrons are asked to please join the Celtic Tenors in the singing of our national anthem.
Celtic Tenors and 80,000 tenors and sopranos singing Áran na Bhíon with some gusto. It's going to be Tyrone who will play from left to right in the first half. The build-up is wonderful. Armagh still in a huddle, refusing to break. Final words perhaps of inspiration. What more can they say? What more can they do? Tyrone just want to get on with it. Darkening clouds over Hill 16. The weathermen got it absolutely right. Weathermen and women got it absolutely right. They said it would be bright early on in the day, a little bit overcast after that, and a threat of a shower. Let's hope it doesn't materialize. The pitch has a lovely covering of grass, a little bit of tendency to cut up on the far side ever so slightly during the minor match, which, in case you've joined us late, was drawn between Dublin and Laois. And greetings now to all of our viewers around the world watching this, and to the Irish troops in Kosovo. And their chaplain there is Father Owen Tyne, and Conor O'Hagan for Armagh is one of the supporters hoping for a victory for the men in orange and white. Wherever you're watching it, hope you enjoy it. All spaces taken up. Capacity 79,500, same as last year. Armagh from right to left. Match referee is Brian White. He's the 5th Wexford man to referee a senior football final. He lives in Clonmel. Some switches in the Armagh team with Diarmuid Marsden and Ronan Clark making a switch, but it's the start of the 114th All-Ireland football final. And straight away it's Tony McEntee in midfield, held in possession. Free kick taken by Kieran McGeeney, nicely ahead towards Oisín Mokongo. They hold it up there for Philip Loughran to strike. Just a little bit wayward, however. But he's a very busy man in midfield, does an awful lot of work alongside Paul McGrain.
Yeah, the last game actually against Donegal, his shot selection was very poor at times as well. Funny enough, from the same position.
Yeah, Loughran has gone to right half forward, and Tony McEntee is involved in the switch as well, out towards midfield alongside Paul McGrain. But it's Tyrone who break. Once again, it's Philip Jordan here. Heavy knock, free in. Straight away, Tyrone are protesting. Sean Kavanagh going into the referee, Brian White, there to say, are you going to take some serious action about that? But it was a good burst forward by Philip Jordan, who'll appreciate that his primary task is to defend. And there was some holding inside. And you can see that Andrew McCann has been indicted. A foul on Brian Dooher. And Santa Claus is here a bit early. Mind you, he is supporting the Armagh cause. That's going to get hot between now and 5. It gives Peter Canavan a chance to open the scoring. 20 metres out. He's done exactly that. An easy one. Critical decision made there against Andrew McCann for the foul on Brian Dooher off the ball.
Yes, and anybody who knows Brian White's style knows that he always has an eye open for whatever is happening off the ball, in particular for holding it that's going on off the ball, and that time Dooher was being held. Good call.
And Andrew McCann, who used to play for Tiernan Og in Armagh City, now plays for Leixlip and plays in the maroon and white of that club. Semi-finalist in Kildare this year. Struggling over there is Kevin Hughes. Good attack here by Armagh. Inside towards John McEntee. On the left boot, it's over. Great attack, great finish by John McEntee. And the teams are level. Still at the settling down stage. This was a lovely fluid move, good attacking pace shown by Armagh, and a great finish by McEntee. You can see that Philip Loughran, who switched into right half forward, was involved in the build-up, but no question about the finish. Exquisite. Here comes Aidan O'Rourke, the wing-back. Bad ball straight at Gavin Devlin. Out towards Sean Kavanagh, an early candidate for Young Player of the Year in football. Dragged down, free kick. Doing the dragging there was Paul McGrain. Brian Dooher looking like he wants to take the free kick quickly, but opting in the end to leave it for his team captain. This is just outside the 45-metre line. Inside towards Brian McGuigan, a flu victim in the last couple of days, taken on O'Rourke. Back to Peter Canavan once again. Canavan leaving it there for Cavlin, and that's a very fine shot indeed, and it's over the bar. So 3 attacks producing 3 points, but significantly 2 of them for Tyrone. And the pass from Canavan back to Cavlin, making it 2 points to 1.
That was a wonderful assist that time from Canavan, and look at that for a skyscraper. Such a handsome point from out in the wing. Great score, confirming Cavlin's form this year.
Remember the brilliant start he made against Kerry, and notice that Armagh significantly are kicking the ball down the centre and keeping it away from the wing, where Cavlin was a real menace, catching an awful lot of early ball in the semi-final. This time the referee indicts Diarmuid Marsden, 65 metres out, and Canavan went down trip that time. Marsden is ticked for his troubles. Crowd gets really excited. Tyrone have the free kick. Dewar taking it. Nicely laid inside there for Enda McGinley. McGinley in an attacking role, but he's badly miscued this one under the pressure from Tony McEntee. It was a chance.
Well, certainly the early trend is very, very encouraging. Three or 4 minutes gone, 3 scores, and a very fluent game to date.
Interesting the way they've changed the shape of the team around. Tony McEntee, as anticipated, is in around midfield, but McGinley had played more direct and more forward. Here's Kieran McGeeney switching it down there towards McDonnell. Stephen McDonnell, what a wonderful year he's had. Nicely played inside, intelligent ball inside for Oisin McConville from the position where he scored a goal against Kerry in last year's All-Ireland final, looking for another. He's put it wide, and it hasn't even gone wide. He's missed it very badly. Swept up by Ryan McMenamin, and as far as Kevin Hughes. Should have been a goal there. Great chance for Armagh. But it's still Tyrone who lead by just a point. Owen Mulligan back towards Gavin Devlin. Taking it back again here is Brian McGuigan. Surrounded by Armagh players, and the referee was in having a right good look at things. It comes back out to John McEntee, a point scorer already. Lengthy ball inside. Was there a push that time? There was, by Ronan Clark, free out. Clark is playing inside at full forward. Francie Bellew down injured, 20 metres out from his own goal line. Play continues. Sean Kavanagh. Mulligan's come deep. Laid off well here towards Kieran Gourley, about whom there was so much doubt before the match because of injury. Jared Kaplan nicely ahead towards Brian McGuigan. McGuigan ready to take on the other number 11. John McEntee stumbling. Still they get it forward and then lose it and lose their way. Andy Mallon, 20-year-old. Bad ball to space. Philip Jordan again. Another threatening move by Armagh, and Jared Kaplan just holding up the point of the attack. Good ball inside towards Peter Canavan. Surrounded again by the backs. McEntee back there. Trying to be disciplined, and the referee's going to throw the ball up. Referee is right up close to the play at all times. Very vigilant. Referee, of course, based in Clonmel, although he's a native of County Wexford. That's caught by Paul McGrain and then lost. The referee has whistled. Free to the men from the Orange County. At the other end here, this was the move forward by Diarmuid Marsden. It was Marsden and not McConville who was going through that time. This is McEntee. Jersey pull, John McEntee's jersey hauled back, and it's going to be a free kick and a ticking. And the number 15 of Tyrone registered by the referee, that's Owen Mulligan. McEntee taking his time going into this one, playing a bit of soccer in Croke Park. And the challenge came in from Sean Kavanagh.
Yes, just going back actually to that miss actually by Diarmuid Marsden. Both Conor Gormley and Enda McGinley really did very well in the defensive set. And this time, okay, I think McEntee certainly took a right rattle. I think it was from Sean Kavanagh.
There was a certain casual nature to the build-up there. Thought they might have added a little bit more pace.
Well, he wouldn't be the Formula 1 player of Gaelic football now. He's a very, very casual mover, but a beautiful striker of a ball.
Back there you can see Francie Bellew and Owen Mulligan just having a word or two. This time it's Oisin McConville. Good deep ball in. Ronan Clark trying to keep it in play, but all in vain. And that's going to be a kick out to Tyrone. Yet to find his best form, I think, Ronan Clark this year. Had a very good season, was named Young Footballer of the Year at the end of 2002. He finished with 2 goals and 19 points last year. And it's a share of the bottle time at the other end. John Devine, who will be playing in the under-21 final against the Dubs in a week's time at Navan. Fisted down by McEntee. Diarmuid Marsden racing after it. Well controlled, however, by Conor Gormley. They feed it out as far as Kieran Gourley. Gourley in full flight. Handled by Mallon, not controlled, however. Needs McGeaney. Trying to brush aside the challenge of McGuigan. Taking it up here is Stephen McDonnell. Way back there with Aidan O'Rourke. McDonnell again, but he's very deep in his own half of the field. It spills away to Kaplan. A real hit and hope one. McGuigan's in under it. Couple of Armagh backs. Comes back out to Tony McEntee. Wrestled there by Enda McGinley. Once again, the style of the McEntees. This time it's Tony. Jersey pull. Gets it away to Stephen McDonnell. They build up on the halfway line. Decent kick in, but should be the goalkeepers, and is John Devine in his 9th championship match. Ryan McMenamin building once again. It's fisted ahead well towards Kevin Hughes of Tyrone. Taking up the attack here is Kieran Gourley, and he knew from the minute it left his boot that it was going nowhere. Hopelessly out of the sideline. Mind you, Oisin McConville was close for comfort.
Yes, I think in order to try and confuse one another, both teams have actually changed their style slightly from the semi-final. Tyrone are playing the game a little bit longer, and the inside line of Armagh are without Stephen McDonnell, who seems to be playing as the roving corner forward at the moment.
And just as you speak, he's switched directions and gone back in on Cormac McAnallen, so it's all changed, Martin. Dooher, along with Kieran Gourley. Brian McGuigan, and there's a player on the deck, and it's Mulligan, free in. And it's going to be Francie Bellew who will be spoken to about that. I think they may well have identified Francie Bellew as a player who could be in difficulty against Mulligan, and if they play the early ball in and leave it one-on-one between the two, I think Tyrone may feel that an advantage may accrue their way.
Yes, and notice where actually Mulligan is playing against Bellew. He's playing against him right in front of the goals, not out in the corner, but he's taking him in front of the goals where to get maximum advantage out of any indiscretion that Bellew will commit.
So Francis Bellew is on a yellow card. Mulligan, by the way, got ticked earlier on, but it's a free in to Peter Canavan, and it's second point coming up for him. No mistake. So a very useful start for the Red Hand County. Tyrone leading 3-1. But as you say, each side trying to change the structure of their team and outfox the opposition. Enda McGinley playing as a normal number 13, corner forward. Deep on occasions, but right now he's up there in front of goal. Here he is, taking on Andy Mallon. There was a hefty belt there. A couple of players down injured. Referee holds up the play. And Tony McEntee is the Armagh player, and Enda McGinley is the Tyrone man involved. It really was quite a shoulder, quite a collision. And as Kieran McGeaney was ready to take the ball away and sweep it downfield, quite correctly, the referee halted the play.
That was one shuddering tackle actually between the two of them. I think, I'm not sure if they took rattles to the head or not, but just watch this. McGinley comes in. Oh yes, their heads collided, so it wouldn't be surprised if one or other of them have to come off for treatment.
Well, this is a bit of argy-bargy there involving Enda McNulty and Philip Jordan. Yeah, Brian McGuigan there as well with Kieran McGeaney.
Yeah, but to actually give credit to both sets of players, many people had anticipated a very fractious encounter, but so far there has been a good level of discipline exerted by both teams.
And tactics are very, very much in evidence.
Yeah, one thing, Gerard, too, we normally laud the Armagh team for the quality of their kickouts that they normally find their players. Today, the old Raiders seems to be out at sync a little bit because they're losing a lot of their kickouts, which is unusual for them.
So a fair old hold-up here as Tony McEntee gets attention. And the Armagh, or the Tyrone player who's involved, Enda McGinley. Neighbouring counties, great rivalry. They know one another so well. And those are the ingredients, of course, of the 2003 Bank of Ireland football final. It's come down to this, the 65th game. Well, it's a physical contact sport, and that's what gives it a large measure of its attraction for so many people, and you're going to get belts like that.
You will, and it was fair shoulder to shoulder. It's just that the follow through, both their heads collided with one another, and I wouldn't think there was anything poisonous in the intent of either player in that case.
And credit the referee for realizing straight away that there could be a problem and halting proceedings. Play restarts. O'Rourke held up, and a free for Aidan O'Rourke and for Armagh. Straight away giving it to his captain, Geezer. Captain fantastic from an Armagh point of view. Now plays for the Fianna. Oh, it's a terrible ball straight to Kaplan. Jared Kaplan up towards Mulligan. This time the bounce deceiving him, and it's Francie Bellew who takes it away. Andy Mullen and O'Rourke available. Now the object of the exercise to try and keep it in play, and Philip Loughran out of luck. Nice, very nice indeed. And we've spotted you. Here comes Philip Jordan. Nice ball inside here. Won back by the midfielder Sean Kavanagh, who loves to attack. Inside to Owen Mulligan from Cookstown. Back once again towards Kavanagh. Another hefty knock, but more frontal on this occasion. And the referee deciding it's going to be a free in. Protest as long as they will, but Tyrone get the call their way. Referee explaining it away to Kieran McGeeney, and completely nonplussed is Tyrone's team captain Peter Canavan. 3 kicks. This is the third coming up. This can be point number 3. Well, he's put 3 between them. All of his points coming from frees. Jared Kaplan getting the other point for Tyrone, against just 1 for Armagh and John McEntee. It's 13 minutes now since Armagh has scored. And the champions kick out once again has gone astray to Jared Kaplan. Laid along the line here. Inside towards Brian McGuigan, ready to take on McGeeney, taking him on in some style. And cracking it beautifully over. But it all came from that horrible kick out by Paul Hirty. It's something that Joe Kernan, I'm sure, has noticed. Is on his feet straight away, having words with his goalkeeper. 5-1.
Yes, and McGeeney's going through a wobbly patch at the moment. 2 bad passes, and that time skinned by McGuigan, and a wonderful shot. McGuigan already beginning to put his imprint on the game.
Do you ever get the feeling you've seen this before in the semi-final? Tyrone v Kerry.
That is true. It's the same actual score nearly, Ger. After 90 minutes that day was 6-0. Okay, it's 5-1 now.
Kevin Hughes to Mulligan. He's causing problems, getting out ahead of Bellew the whole time, taking on O'Rourke this time. It spills away out as far as Oisin McConville. Holds it for McEntee. Referee is, well, I thought he was whistling because McEntee was taking his time about it. Great ball down. Gathered in well here by Diarmuid Marsden. An enterprising one in. McDonald's around. Gavin Devlin trying to snuff it out. Still McDonald on his left boot and over. Well, that underlines the danger that is Stephen McDonnell. Will he end up being Footballer of the Year? He's brought Armagh to within 3 points after 17, nearly 18 minutes of the first half. Difficult to hold on to. You can see 2 Tyrone players alongside him, beat a third and lobbed it over.
Yes, I admired the predatory instincts that time of McDonnell. Seemed to be beaten again. Great instinct. Up and it just fires the ball over the bar without looking.
Wonderful persistence by McDonnell. Great catch. Beautifully done. Now the gaps open up in the Tyrone back line. Clark laying it inside here. O'Rourke coming through. Still Aidan O'Rourke go beyond Marsden. And an easy one for Gourley to take and kick away from danger. Anywhere will do. But he's kicked with accuracy, in fairness to him, to Kevin Hughes. What a miss at the other end. A couple of goal chances coming Armagh's way. Here's Dewar. Pace of the game picking up again. Great intensity to it. He's dragged down. Free kick. And Brian White's been busy. Paul McGrain gets the ticking this time. Jared Kaplan wants to take the free kick, but his captain's come out once again. I think he's first everything.
Yes, and just at the far end, that was an awful waste of quality possession by Armagh. They had the overlap that time and a goal on.
The master into the pupil. Mulligan trying to lay down for McGinley. Wasn't taken down. Still has the opportunity. Lays it off to McGuigan, trying to go through somehow. Good defence by Armagh, but it comes out again towards Kavanagh and he's kicked it wide. Sean Kavanagh had the goal there. Open, waiting, inviting. And he's missed it. Goal chances at either end. Sheer persistence here as McGuigan tried to steamroll his way through. It came out to Sean Kavanagh, the man who'd love to be an attacker, but he's better off in midfield. And there, he demonstrated why with this horrid finish.
Yeah, and again, credit the vision of McGuigan that time to give it to Kavanagh, but Kavanagh will certainly rue that. That was a gilt-edged chance missed.
Not to worry, I won't get into the highlights. Here's Tony McEntee. Great run. Still McEntee, laying it off well to Oisin McConville. Off the post, waiting for it, collecting it is Conor Gormley. Great excitement, great pace. Brian Doer in trouble, recovers, not fouled. Back out from his fullback Cormac McAnallen. Out here to Ryan McMenamin, sent away there is Philip Jordan. Good pace this time by Jordan, peeling to his left was McGuigan, taking them all on. O'Rourke's his marker. Out it comes once again towards Jared Kaplan. High up into the sky, plenty of Armagh players there. It's 4 against 1, the one being Mulligan. Hearty gets there first. And Armagh can breathe a sigh of relief. 5-2. Could be a couple of goals in this match. None so far. Ronan Clark bypassing McConville. Lazily forward by John McEntee. What a lovely play outside to McDonald. Sells a dummy, waits for support. It's McEntee. Such elegance. Gets it the second time, feeds it forward. It was intended there for Oisin McConville, but they just couldn't quite hold on. But ominously, Armagh are creating chances.
Yeah, but wonderful defending that time with Tyrone. So many bodies around the player with the ball.
Sean Kavanagh for Hughes, just waited for the bounce, came into him neatly against Aidan O'Rourke. Can Mulligan keep this one in against Bellew? Just about manages to do so. And then the linesman on the far side, who's Paddy Russell, former All-Ireland final referee from Tipperary, signalling Armagh's possession. Here's Enda McNulty from the Ballyboden club here in Dublin. There was a check and it's going to be a free down for Joe's team. Peter Canavan has been ticked for that. We can look at it again here. Canavan approaching, Enda McNulty. And McNulty stayed on his feet and didn't make a meal out of it.
Yeah, again, I think it was a head clash between the two of them.
Kick deep, falling bodies there, in onto the backs. And it's Dermot Marsden who has engineered something for Armagh here, a free kick about 22 metres out. And a chance for Oisin McConville to get his first of the day. He's had a great last couple of years, last 5 years really, with Crossmaglen Rangers and with Armagh. Regularly at Croke Park in major matches, looking for his second medal. And he's got his first point of the day from the free. Eating into the Tyrone lead, only 2 between them. A day for everybody here. 5 points to 3. Fans having lots to cheer about. A couple of moans as well with those goal mouth misses, but it's all part of the chemistry of a football final.
Yeah, but there's great fluency there, Ger, so far, and great, excitement at both ends of the pitch.
Kaplan has switched across to the right-hand side of the Armagh forward line, beaten this time, however, by Paul McGrain. 2 against 1, neatly taken in, and 1 very convincingly by Conor Gormley. They get it out towards Kevin Hughes, the midfielder. Smooth as you like, out to Philip Jordan. Chasing back there is John McEntee, the number 11, coming into picture. Kavanagh, referee, has noted the player going down injured. Philip Jordan's down. The referee might have a word with Philip Loughran about that. Notebook's out, he's been checking the numbers.
Yes, he could be in trouble this time, Ger, because he definitely took him with a late tackle to the head.
It's yellow. So that's 2 yellow cards against Armagh players, Francie Bellew and now Philip Loughran. They knew they were going to be into a very, very tough, tight situation here in this final. That's the way it's turning out to be. So much at stake. Can Armagh retain Sam Maguire? Can Tyrone win it for the first time? Paddy McKeever is being prepared and ready to come in, so there's going to be an Armagh change almost immediately. Peter Canavan to kick for Tyrone, and the captain kicks and he puts it over the bar. 4 frees taken, 4 points for the captain. Is this to be the day when Peter the Great will get his hands on the elusive All-Ireland medal? He's made it 6-3.
Number 14, Ingrid Marston, has been replaced by number 19, Paddy McKeever.
It's going to be a blood substitution, I gather. So McKeever is on. And Diarmuid Marsden is the one who has made way momentarily, assuming they can do a quick stitch-up job. Paul Hearty's kick-out's a great deal better this time, but still mopped up by Kevin Hughes. Good primary possession taken in midfield, and then he's fouled. Free kick. Gavin Devlin to kick it. Man who was out for 12 weeks, but significantly, once he was available again, Mickey Hart put him straight back into the team. Such is his importance. Enda McGinley taking on McGeaney. The Max in action. Spills loose. Tony McEntee releasing it outside. Good pace, good movement, and it's the blood substitute Paddy McKeever, who's very unlucky in the book of many, many people not to have started the match. He was the one who scored the goal, which didn't count, resulted in a penalty in the semi, which Oisin McConville converted. John McEntee kicking it into space, and there was a push. And the push is by Oisin McConville, free out to Tyrone. 26 minutes gone, Tyrone by 3 points, but it's anybody's match. Ryan McMenamin setting it away once more. They hold it up for Sean Kavanagh from Moy. Nice play. Jared Kaplan once again. Mulligan has come very, very deep. Holds on to it, spills away from him, and then just ran away at the last possible moment. Down for young Ronan Clark, and he loses his concentration. So let's get some word from the sideline now, and let's get some comment from Kevin McStay.
Jared, just to say that at this stage of the early proceedings, Philip Loughran is really on a tightrope from Armagh. I can tell you he's getting a lot of attention here from the sideline official Paddy Russell. He's got a yellow, and he's really is banging into guys. He's really got to watch himself.
Thanks indeed, Kevin. Back in the centre, it's Oisin McConville. Linking up there, Andy Mallon. McEntee ahead here towards McConville again. Down he goes. Kevin Hughes this time the guilty party. Free kick taken by John McEntee. Here's Philip Loughran. Stephen McDonnell instinctively kicking. Quick look at the target. That is a brilliant point. He didn't give himself an extra second to look at the target. He just took it in his stride, and in one sweeping movement with great confidence and accuracy, he struck it between the posts.
That's an exceptional score, Jared. Going away from goals, taking the ball, not looking at it, and curling it back over the bar. That is some score. 2
kicks at the target, 2 points for Stevie McDonnell. 6-4. An intriguing final. It was always likely to be. And those portents of doom you were hearing about a few weeks back, about this being an awful, awful battle that nobody was going to watch. Forget it. It's been exciting, thrilling on occasions. Here comes Enda McGinley. Good run through. McGinley's played it to McGuigan, gets it back. He was trying to link up with Mulligan. Breaks away. Good defensive play here. And they got it away to Enda McNulty. Now it comes towards John McEntee for the champions Armagh. This was going to be the Ulster final that everybody was going to be looking forward to. But of course Armagh couldn't get beyond Monaghan in round 1. Instead of it being the Ulster final that everybody wanted, it's the All-Ireland final. McEntee back to Ronan Clark, trying to dodge around Brian Doore. Haven't seen many of his mazy runs so far. Comes back out to Stevie McDonnell, who's hot. This time he was just put off, I think, and it's gone badly wide.
Yes, there's such flexibility in both sides. If you just look at this time, a lovely pass from McGuigan, reverse pass to McGuigan, overplaying it, over elaboration probably cost him. But look at the number of players back there, and including Stephen McDonald, Ger.
Jared Kaplan. Tyrone again. Trying to lay siege to the Armagh defence. Brian Dewar. We'd expected him to be doing the running job, which he's so good at. It's part and parcel of his game, just taking on opponents.
Well, he is everywhere, the real marathon man out there, but he's not getting on the ball that often.
Peter Canavan, man who takes the freeze. Going for distance. It was intended to lob in over the back, Andy Mallon, and on for McGuigan, but it was well read by Francie Bellew. Here comes Andrew McCann. Nice turn, back to McCann again. A purposeful build-up by Armagh, nothing just kicked away. They were waiting for that perfect pass. Finally angled across beyond Philip Loughran. Ronan Clark. Outside of the boot. Ryan McMenamin in there, jumping with MacDonald. It's quite a match-up between McMenamin and MacDonald. And Tyrone get away with it this time, and it comes out to Sean Kavanagh in midfield. 5 minutes to the break, plus a bit of stoppage time because of the injuries. McGinley. Here's McGuigan. He's left it behind to Andy Mallon. This time last year, Andy Mallon was up at Hill 16 watching it, supporting his county. Today, part of the action and going down under the weight of the challenge there. Cormac McAnallen. That's Kieran Gourley as well to the left-hand side. But the referee is going to call across Cormac McAnallen. First of the Tyrone men to incur the wrath of referee Brian White, and it's yellow. 3 yellow cards, first half.
Yeah, it must be said, defensively both teams are on top, and in fact the over-elaboration that maybe Tyrone are indulging in at the moment is really to their cost, because they're running up against a brick wall in the Armagh defence, and at the other side again, I must say defensively Tyrone seem to be coping quite well, because so many Armagh players are funneling back the pitch.
Free kick to be taken by McConville. This is McKeever. Bad ball into space, easily mopped up by Kevin Hughes, bounces it a couple of times. Outside to Jared Kaplan, the return pass for the number 8. Oof, an attempted drag down doesn't come off, thankfully. And the advantage is with Tyrone. Back to Canavan, who stayed loose in the middle, ready to take on 2 men, looking to lay it off to McGuigan. Still 6 points to 4 in Tyrone's favour. They look to put 3 between them. McGuigan taking on the other number 11, John McEntee, going down this time. The referee says that McGuigan was fouled. I have to say, I think he threw himself down. Yes,
he definitely conned Brian White that time. He threw himself. John McEntee got the hand across him, certainly, but I do think it was he made the most of it.
Just watch. He was still stumbling. Finally he went down. I think he knew what he was after, which was a free kick.
Yeah, and significantly actually Peter Canavan is down at the moment holding that damaged ankle, so he may not be able to run the course.
Will he take the free? He doesn't need to. They've got other players who can kick it. Anything but 100% fit. They were saying beforehand he's starting the match, we can guarantee you that, and it's a case of how long he'll last. Armagh's goalkeeper was down on his hands and knees for a moment there, Paul Hearty. He's okay, referee's got in to check. It's going to be a free kick to Tyrone. Hearty shakes his head. Canavan will kick, 25 metres out, and he's got another 5 points. The man who once got 11 points in the All-Ireland final back in 1995. Wasn't enough. Dublin went on to win. He got 11 out of 12 that day. This is what happened here again just a little while back. Watch Mulligan on the goal line and Hearty.
A little bit of a provocation and maybe Hearty making the most of it, but Mulligan needs to watch himself.
He's already on a ticking. The umpire didn't seem to really know what to do, whether it was a reporting offence or what. Stephen O'Neill is coming on. Yeah, and it's going to be Brian McGuigan who's going off. He's been a flu victim in the last couple of days. Hasn't been himself, mind you. He made 1 or 2 good runs and then took a bit of a dive, I think, for that last free kick, which resulted in a point. So Stephen O'Neill is in. Man who played well in the semi-final when brought in early for Peter Canavan against Kerry. Armagh, the champions, 3 points down, but if it's a tight second half and there's not much between them, you'd nearly be putting your money on the men in orange and white. Paddy McKeever. McCann, back to McKeever again, very expressive. McGeeney. O'Rourke kicking it in well. Intended once again for Ronan Clarke, but this time it beats him for pace. His marker is Conor Gormley. Not quite on his game.
No, I think also, Gerard, the ball going in there, a lot of the players are finding it difficult to actually read the flight in the sun, and I think that's what happened initially that time. Clarke was late to see the ball as it came to him. But it must be said, just in general, the game has kind of tapered off a little bit. Tyrone have only scored 1 point, I think, from play in the forward line. It's been left to Canavan to score get most of their scores. And again, without McDonald, it's kind of 2 points. Armagh will be a little bit disappointed.
Armagh have it backwards again with Stevie McDonald. That one is kicked wide. So once again, let's get some more news from the sideline from Kevin McStay. Kevin.
Just to say, Gerard, that they've now changed off Mulligan. They put McNulty in on him in the full-back position, taking Francie Bellew out. And I can tell you they've just continued the same pushing and shoving handbag stuff that's been going on for the first 25-30 minutes of the game.
Okay, in scoring chances so far, Armagh shading at 11, scoring chances to 9. No goals, we've had opportunities, but it's 7-4. So we're now into added time. 2 minutes of added time to be played. Paddy McKeever turning around, and in fact it's Ronan Clarke who kicks, and he's kicked to the right, and he's kicked it wide.
Yeah, he's had a disappointing game so far. Very, very ineffective, actually. They're in the full forward position where he kind of thrived so much last year against Moynihan.
Well, it's 6 wide so far for Armagh, and that's going to have to be taken again.
Yeah, that's actually should be. He took the ball inside the 20-metre line, and definitely the referee, I think, should have given a different decision to that.
John Devine here has really taken his opportunity this year. They say he's a great talker. He's only 19 years of age, but he talks to his backs the whole time and shouts out the instructions. Not a great kick. Comes to Aidan O'Rourke. Missed by MacDonald. Tyrone swarming around their own half-back line. Lots of bodies back there. And appeals for a free kick, which the referee has given. Cormac McAnallen, the player, is down. MacDonald being spoken to. And the referee has noted the number, and MacDonald gets a ticking. But it's curious the way Armagh have tried to freshen up their attack in this particular final. Just tried to bamboozle Tyrone, who would have been inspecting a particular style of game. Here's Stephen O'Neill. Nasty forward. Kavanagh missed the goal chance earlier. McGill is in. He's got Canavan, and he's kicked it off the goalkeeper's legs, and it's over the bar. McGinley was the one coming through. He will take the credit, but there was a goal chance there right at the end of the half, because Canavan was waiting inside. Paul Hearty made a good save. Canavan might have had a goal. He's got 5 points, all from frees. He's lost to the pace in spite of the pain he must be suffering from that ankle injury. And Tyrone are waiting outside the entrance to the dugout. There they go now, in with Armagh. It's been played in a very good spirit. 3 yellow cards in all. Not a great deal to choose between them, but it's Tyrone who've made the brighter start to this 114th All-Ireland football final, and Tyrone, the challengers, leading the champions by 8 points to 4. Let's get out to the sideline to Marty Morrissey.
Mickey, just give me your thoughts at half-time.
My thoughts are we're in a tough game. We knew this was going to be a tough final. Both teams play to win the game, obviously, and you don't get anything easy out there. Nothing is expected, and I think it's the game we all expected, and I hope there's more of the same in the second half.
you've had a couple of close encounters in the sense that you could have had a goal as well.
We could have had a goal or two, we could have conceded a goal or two. I think it's even Stephen across the field. Armagh created some great chances, we got away with it. We created a few good chances and they got away with it as well, so I think it's even on the goal scoring efforts. I think we're all even.
Do you still think you can win this?
Well, of course, we wouldn't be here if we didn't think we could win it, but there's a lot of hard work to do yet.
Well done, best of luck, Mickey. Paul, how do you think your team are doing at half-time, up to half-time?
Well, the bottom line at the minute, Marty, is we're playing much way too low, below par. We've given away so much easy possession, especially in the last third of the pitch. We remember we were unlucky for a few goal chances, but by and large, you know, they're working the ball better, they're keeping possession better, and they're coming at us in speed. And as Gaelic football is, you constantly change your marking system all the time to try and cope with it, you know. But our boys would need to up their performance now, especially in the next 10 minutes of the second half.
Where do you see where you're below par in particular? Half-back line, midfield?
Well, I think we're in the middle of the field and we're not breaking quickly enough. We know we worked hard on this here in training, you know, we're breaking from a half-back in the midfield, putting the pressure on them and putting them on the back foot all the time. But to be honest, it's not working at the moment. We're going to have to look at that.
Paul Grimley, thank you very much.
Interesting thoughts indeed there from Paul Grimley, and before that Mickey Harte, the Tyrone manager. The second half to come. Before that we'll have some analysis right after the break.
All-Ireland final. We speculated, would Peter Canavan play in this match? Would he just lead the team out? He scored 4 points. He's actually scored 5 points in the first half. He's definitely playing. Let's have a look at the stats from the first half of this year's All-Ireland football final. We'll confirm the score for you first, and Tyrone have the advantage at half-time. They're 4 points up. Quite a number of frees actually in that first half, 24 in all, but quite a lot of pulling and dragging as well. 6 wides to Armagh, 2 to Tyrone, and we've had 3 yellow cards, 2 of them against Armagh. That was Philip Loughlin, the midfielder. Francie Bellew also booked after an ongoing battle with Owen Mulligan, and for Tyrone their fullback Cormac McAnallen has had his name taken as well. Now a name check here on our panel. We have with us this afternoon Pat Spillane, Colin O'Rourke and Joe Brolly. I've actually enjoyed the first half of that game. The 3 panellists aren't as convinced, mind you. As I was making the point to you, maybe I identify with scrappy, mucky footballers as a player rather than class like you guys.
Well, I thought there was more intensity about the whole pre-match scene and the huddles and everything than there has been about the game itself. I thought after about 10 minutes it fizzled out a bit. I think the referee has got it wrong twice. He gave Tyrone 2 close-in frees where there was obvious dives, and I think overall there's not much in it, but Armagh have had their usual quota of wides. It's not a great game, but you know, both sides are setting out to be positive, but the amount of extra defenders on each side means that both sides have to carry the ball forward and hope to set it up. They're not really getting much from Armagh aren't getting much from their long kicking today.
No, very little. Yeah, we are nonetheless seeing some good scores. It's a very good point. Yeah. Let's have a look at those. Brian O'Guigan, who's gone off, he's had the flu during the week, as Pat Spillane was telling us earlier on. He scored a great point in that first half, and a kind of an inspirational one for Tyrone.
It was a good score, and I mean, up until the very last kick of the game, it was their only score from play in the half, and as Colin says, I think that the way
kick out, mind you.
It was the way that Tyrone plays probably better set up for this run and carrying type of game than Armagh. I mean, because the inside lines are dominating, I mean, Stephen McDonnell has conjured a couple of points out of nothing, which were absolutely marvellous points in all his own work. But I mean, they're being totally swamped. I mean, there are 5 Tyrone defenders standing on top of McDonnell and Morrison. On the other side, Mulligan isn't a factor at all. I mean, Francie Bellew has won the first 6 balls and he's simply not in the game. Peter Canavan, although he's taken the close-in frees, he's not a factor in the game. That doesn't hurt Tyrone so much, because if you look at the statistics, the Tyrone midfielders and defenders have scored 126 from play this year, and they're good at carrying the ball forward. But one thing is disappointing about their game. I know it's the All-Ireland final, it's not nice to crib, but the diving was, I mean, I thought there were at least 6 or 7 times in the first half and they just dived.
Well, they did set out to clean that up in this particular game. Continuing on the positive side, and he mentioned Steve McDonnell and Pat Spillane, he scored 2 great points the first time. We're going to have a look at one of them.
He did. I mean, he's been the player of the championship this year. It's certainly the best forward in the championship, and a good forward's first and gut instinct is to shoot on sight, and this was Armagh at their clinical best. It's a diagonal ball into the space, in for McDonnell, and McDonnell just turns and shoots, and like I said, that's a good forward. A bad forward would dilly-dally, mess around, whatever like that. That's a tremendous score. But what we had, I mean, we didn't expect this to be an open, attractive game of football, and it's not. It's certainly far more attractive than watching Celebrity Farm or something like that. It's intriguing, it's absorbing, but at least they learned something else. I know how to beat the sweeper defence, and Armagh are doing. You just knock them out of the way, because Armagh have superior physical strength that they just go down the middle. It's like stock car racing or demolition derby. But their superior strength, bring the guy into the tackle and knock him over, and away you go again.
But they're still 4 points behind.
I was just going to say that.
And you have to be happy enough, Colin.
I might be happy enough, but Tyrone will be twice as happy. Mulligan is not a factor in the game. Canavan, apart from kicking frees, doesn't appear to me as if he's match fit.
At all.
So like, Tyrone are functioning without their two primary attackers from play. So like going 4 points up in the All-Ireland final. Yeah, but in saying that, Armagh have had better opportunities of goals.
All right, gentlemen, the three tenors on the field are playing the fields of Athenry at the moment. I have to go out and have a listen. We'll take a commercial break.
But it was great stuff.
Sir, thank you. Well, Gary, what have you made of it?
I've really enjoyed it. Now it's a fantastic game to watch, I must say, and I've been impressed to say by the players' fitness, and there's a lot more goes on than I've ever known. You know, there's a lot of individual battles that have been fascinating to watch.
Have you picked a winner?
I don't know, I think I might have it all to do now, but I think they have the belief that if they're close at the end, they can come through and win it. But at the minute, I hope they haven't left themselves too much to do.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thanks, Austin. Let's have a race through the stats from the first half, starting with the kickouts, and maybe it tells a story. There's not actually
there's very little
much
in it. It shows as Armagh with 6 wides, thrown a bit more kickouts than Armagh. It shows that Armagh actually had more attacks, marginally than Tyrone.
Payment is finished here at Croke Park. The Celtic tenors, if I said the three tenors, apparently there's a difference. Sorry about that, lads. They have 3 lovely white suits, by the way. We're admiring them here at half-time. Tyrone had a couple of goal chances in that first half. We're going to have a look at one of them. Got really through the Armagh defence at times.
Yes, well, this is Tyrone's great weapon is their pace and running through the centre, and they're all quicksilver. You know, they are pacier than Armagh, and I suspect that they could regret either one of these chances. I mean, Kavanagh should have stuck his in the net, but this one coming up to half-time, I'm not sure which one this one is. This is the Kavanagh one. Terrific opportunity to score a goal. And either one of these chances, I mean, this was, I think, in about 20 minutes. And you would have expected him to put it away there.
Didn't even get a point
the second chance just coming in at half-time would have set them 7 points up. And you would imagine at 7 points up in a match as tight as this, that even Armagh's legendary powers of recovery, it might be beyond them.
You would think that this is going very well for Tyrone. They're 4 points up, they're getting in with goal chances, and yet something tells me this is set up for Armagh.
Well, in all the games this year, the same pattern for Armagh has recreated itself. You take the Dublin game, you take the Laois match, Armagh seem to be in trouble, and then they start tightening the screw, and the longer the second half goes on, the more they tighten it. So now, 4 points behind, they won't be that particularly worried about that, but they will be worried about the fact, again, they're ratcheting up bad wides, and they haven't got that support play coming from midfield. Like McGeaney and the wing backs will have to start moving forward more to support the forwards, because they're outnumbered up front.
Talking, Pat, about the diving in the first half, and this has been an issue kind of through the championship season, I suppose. Just one example of this. This may be more kind of a wrong call, maybe, by the ref in this case.
Yeah, you're right. We've seen more diving out in Croke Park today than we would have in an Olympic swimming pool. White set out his stall straight away that he was going to punish guys who were fouling. But what's happening is that the Tyrone fellas have actually conned Brian White into giving a few frees. And here we have a classic case of Brian White. He wasn't touched at all. He dived down, and I would say Peter Canavan has scored 5 points from frees. I would say 3 of them were as a result of dives. So they're quite quick to go down, and I think they have conned White into giving them soft frees. And as you can see, he scored 5 frees. They've all been within 21 metres. So I mean, there's a policy there. Close the goal. Let's go down.
Okay, well, the Mexican wave is in full flight behind us here in the stadium. Before the match, I asked you for your predictions on the game. There was a cautious nod to Armagh. Now, they are 4 points down.
Yeah, well, John Wayne wouldn't even try to jump off his horse in midstream, so I'm certainly not going to do it at this stage. I think, Armagh are right in this game. But the one thing that's strange about the game for me is the lack of personality sort of leaving an imprint on the match. You'd look out there and you say, who's the best players? Who has dominated their patch? Very few.
Piece of information, by the way, from the dressing room area. Apparently Peter Canavan is off the team. I understand Brian McGuigan is coming back on, if that information is correct. But Peter Canavan,
it's not a bit surprising. I mean, he's done his job at this stage. He's a talisman for them. He's a talisman for the crowd. And I mean, he's done his job. He hasn't come off in the middle of the second half.
I was going to say, if you want to take him off,
take him off at half-time quietly, so there's not a big
deal. What he did in that first half very effectively was he just took in the McNulty out of the middle of the field and opened up that full back line. So I mean, he mightn't have contributed. He got one ball in general play, but his sheer footballing brain created space for the other Tyrone forwards.
I think the big question mark now for Tyrone is this: they're sitting in the dressing room at half-time. They're 4 points ahead. They're saying, look, this thing's in sight now.
Yeah.
Can they withstand the inevitable nerves? Can they hold their composure now at this stage? Because there's no doubt that Armagh are going to come at them like a ton of bricks now. Because, I mean, this is Armagh's territory. 4 points behind. Joe Kearney's motivational speech would be irrelevant unless they were 4 points behind. This is the time for Tyrone.
Interesting. Owen Mulligan is now laying down the law to the team that Canavan has gone off.
Yeah, well, Owen Mulligan would want to start playing himself, rather than laying down the law to anybody else on the team, because, he has been very ineffective in that first half. half. You know, he has been a brilliant player in Ulster, but even against Kerry, he was poor enough in that game. And the other thing about that game is the longer the second half went on, Tyrone were sort of going through a rocky patch, and Kerry could have got 3 or 4 points, made it more difficult for them. In the end, they got a couple of scores and pulled away. But, you know, Armagh are going to come up at them straight away now from the start.
Thanks, Colin. They're ready to go for the second half. Let's go back again to Ger and to Martin.
Thanks very much indeed. We're ready to go for the start of the second half. We've had a change, as you know. We've also had a streaker. He did not win the Best Dressed Man award, and he's gone, thankfully. Second half is underway. So just 4 points between them. And again, it hots up, but just the steam taken out of it very, very quickly by the presence of the match referee.
Yes, I think Sean Kavanagh again took quite a belt to the head from somebody's knee, and again there was no need that time actually for Aidan O'Rourke to come in, so I hope this doesn't become a policy to try and intimidate. Like, in general, the spirit of the game was very good throughout the first half, and hopefully it'll continue.
Well, he's down, getting the attention there. Still ruining that inexplicable miss in the first half. One of the best goal chances. All this while, of course, don't forget that Dermot Marsden is still off the Armagh team. He went out as a blood substitute, hasn't reappeared. I've no further news on that. He was replaced by Paddy McKeever, and whether that move is now permanent, I can't tell you. So let's have a look again to see just what might have happened here. As you saw Philip Loughran in there challenging Canavan. And coming out there was Kieran McGeeney.
I think he just bumped his head very severely. Yeah. Just going back to the Tyrone formation in the full forward line, they have Stephen O'Neill in the corner, Mulligan now again full forward, and then the McGinley in the right corner. They seem to be playing an orthodox full forward line, 3 up.
Well, he's back with the action, and the action will continue with this throw ball involving Kevin Hughes and also Paul McGrain. Gavin Devlin knocked ahead by Kieran McGeeney. Tony McEntee. Still McEntee going through, looking for the first score of the second half. Laying it off to Paddy McKeever. And that has just gone to the right. So the miss by Paddy McKeever, failing to add to his 7 points for the campaign so far. But a very good substitute to be able to bring on McKeever.
Yes, and I notice actually Marsden is going down along the sideline warming up again, so it won't be too long until he's reintroduced.
Devine's kick. And it's Armagh who are trying to take a very firm grip in the opening minutes of this second half. John McEntee to kick this one in. Usually a very accurate distributor. McConville over there with Ryan McMenamin, who got the final touch, the umpire says went off the forward player.
Yeah, surprising that time actually. The normal tactic Armagh apply is to actually pump a ball from that position long and diagonally in towards the square, but they try to again apply a little bit of variation to that. But again, Ryan McMenamin's defending was quality that time, and the ball went wide.
Neither side managing to re-establish their rhythm in the game at the start of the second half. 3 minutes old, a game where Armagh has never led. Aidan O'Rourke in there for Paul McGrain. Angling it across towards McDonnell, ever the danger man. Nicely laid off towards John McEntee. Working it in sensibly. Back towards Tony McEntee this time. 3 Tyrone players alongside him. Out towards his brother, and twin brother John. McConville's inside, well defended however, punched away by Kieran Gourley. Out it comes towards Conor Gormley, running into a group of Armagh players, and Jersey pulled in the end, free kick. Well, that's Tony McEntee who's down there injured.
I think it's Paddy McKeever.
Paddy McKeever indeed. So let's see if we've got some further update from the far sideline from Kevin McStay.
Just to say, Ger, Conor Gormley has just got away. Conor Gormley has just got away with a belt just straight to the face there. I must say he was very lucky. The referee just didn't spot it, and he's gotten away with it.
So Tyrone pick it up again with Kavanagh and his midfield partner Kevin Hughes. Taking it on past McGrain. And Armagh working the bodies back there. McKeever struggling. They try to get it out with Mallon. They're all a bit untidy. And Philip Jordan there indicating to referee Brian White that there was a loose kick there by an opponent. Here's a chance with O'Neill. Kaplan! Goal! Should have been for Gerard Kaplan. It was as good a goal chance as he's ever going to get.
He had so much time that time. A lovely bit of spotting there by O'Neill. Just watch it. Gives the ball with his left hand to Kaplan. Kaplan is all alone and miffs the shot. An awful miss.
It's the kind of goal that Christy Toy put in for Donegal in the semi-final, but Kaplan couldn't replicate it.
And that's a hat-trick of goals now missed, or goal-scoring opportunities missed by Tyrone. And again, as I said earlier, they may rue this later on.
Here's Andy Mallon being attended to here by the team doctor Sean Digney. The physio is Owen O'Neill if he's required. He's had a great season, Andy Mallon.
Yeah, he's one of those four guys that has added a little bit of fresh impetus to our Armagh team, and again he's very, very, very fast and playing quite effectively actually for his first All-Ireland.
This is Mallon here near the sideline, challenged by Kavanagh. Out. And he came off second best. Here to one of the many left-footers in the Armagh team. That's a great catch taken down by McGrain. Here's Aidan O'Rourke. Into space, opportunity perhaps. Breaks nicely for Clark. Outside nicely for McKeever this time. First touch wasn't great, but he was fouled, and it's a free from 20 metres out. Paddy McKeever playing in his 29th championship match for Armagh.
Yeah, Rowan Clark spotted him very well that time, and again Conor Gormley gave the free away, so it does offer an opportunity to McGeever to open his count.
Referee issuing the lecture, and it's another yellow card, this time to Conor Gormley. Conor from Carrickmore. Andy Mallon has been replaced, and coming on is Kieran Hughes. He'll wear number 21. So Armagh freshening up things. They were not prepared to take a chance on young Andy Mallon following the injury a little while ago. McKeever can be so reliable from positions like this, and he demonstrates his prowess brilliantly. First point of the match then from the free for Paddy McKeever. Armagh fans a little bit happier.
And I think there's a tactical substitution as well being made with Kieran Hughes coming in. He seems to be taking up an attacking position, so Armagh are content now to leave two right back in the full back line. Armagh
certainly needed that point to stay nicely in touch. It's their first score in the game for 15 minutes. McMenamin, Dewar, good shoulder by Tony McEntee. Waiting there is Kevin Hughes, and the boot was flying in. Free kick.
Again, it's noticeable in the first couple of minutes of the second half, the likes of Dooher and Ryan McMenamin are on the ground. They're starting to take very, very, very hefty hits from the Armagh lads, and I think the accumulative effect of this can, tally up towards the end of the match.
So there's an injury to Brian Dooher, playing today in his 30th championship match. This is what happened to Dooher, and it was Tony McEntee coming in, John McEntee in the follow-up there, and they were all surrounding him, including the new man in, Kieran Hughes.
But again, it's a good shoulder-to-shoulder charge. There is nothing illegal whatsoever about that.
The attendance this afternoon, by the way, 79,391. Dooher is on the ground once again, out of play, and nobody quite knows what happened. Referee was down very quickly.
I didn't see it now, Gerard. Okay, I think Armagh players are accusing Tyrone of theatrics, and certainly Brian Dooher is on the ground. I don't know how it happened, though.
Well, it happened about 20 metres away from the last piece of action. This is Dooher here, and Paul McGrain coming into him. There was the shoulder, and he made a meal of it.
Made a meal of it, and 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because Dooher ran right at him.
Now, he was shouldered a little while ago, and as happens in many sports, if you take a number of knocks in the same area, the wound starts to hurt. Yeah, but that's the only thing I can surmise from that. Dooher's back. Game continues. He's flying. Injury, what injury? And you can hear the Armagh fans jeering Brian Dooher, feeling that he was feigning injury just moments ago. Paddy McKeever down. Referee speaking to him. So once again, it'll be another card.
Yes, the game has become very untidy in the first 10 minutes or so of the second half. I think, again, we said beforehand, Ger, the fear of losing seems to be kicking in with both teams at the moment. Certainly with Tyrone, and they're not going. Both teams are not positive enough.
It's been an awful opening 10 minutes to the half. Absolutely forgettable. Let's hope they can settle down and play football. Only 3 in it, 25 minutes to go. Tyrone have the free kick. Owen Mulligan hasn't scored so far. Peter Canavan is off, remember. And the recurrence of the old ankle injury for Canavan. Mulligan to kick. Will it curl? It's on its way. It's over. Point for a free then from Owen Mulligan. And that means that 6 of Tyrone's scores have come from frees. They lead by 4. His first. Owen Mulligan, very much the young person's idol in Cookstown in County Tyrone the past couple of weeks. Kieran Gourley again running into strong Armagh defence, and the referee this time blows the whistle in favour of Armagh, is he? He's going to throw it. There were indications initially that he was giving a free for charging by the number 2 Kieran Gourley when in possession, but it's going to be a throw ball.
Yeah, a little bit of dissent, I think, on the part of the Armagh lads that time. Definitely okay. I think the referee gave the free that time to Armagh, but again there was a punch thrown, I think, by Tony McIntyre, or Tony McEntee, and I think the referee rightly has changed the decision.
It was a very definite punch. I didn't see it the first time, but in reprise there, definitely he punched his opponent. And you know what happened in the semi-final where his brother John was concerned, and the brouhaha afterwards. No booking there. O'Rourke threw that one, got away with it. It comes out here towards Kieran Hughes. It's very scrappy. Aidan O'Rourke to bring a bit of order perhaps to it. Paddy McKeever, high challenge by Kevin Hughes. What did the referee do now?
That's a very bad tackle by Kevin Hughes that time. It certainly clotheslined him. It wouldn't be surprised to me if the referee sends him off, because there's been an awful lot of messing going on in the opening period of this second half.
He is very, very fortunate. The referee's patience, I think, is going to wear thin very, very shortly.
Yeah, and here's where leadership comes into play with this. Just look at, again, this tackle. Again, McKeever has the ball. Well, he took him, I suppose, mid-drift and around the neck. Maybe it wasn't as bad the second time I saw it, but definitely another day he could have got a red card.
Paddy McKeever. Already he's scored a point from a free, and he's got 2 in a row. Doing the business since coming in off the bench as a replacement for Diarmuid Marsden. And it's 9 points to 6. Again, a game where Armagh has never led. No goals, but plenty of goal-back chances. Peter Loughran couldn't hold on to it. It's Brian Dooher instead. Again taking on Loughran. Dooher. McKeever in to close the space as well. Beyond Jordan. On for Kevin Hughes. Just yellow carded. Gavin Devlin went down. Hughes once again. 2 men going for the 1 ball, and it's Ryan McMenamin who has it stolen away from him following the indecision between the 2 of them, and Armagh have possession. McGrain getting it forward there with McGeaney, punting it ahead towards Tony McEntee. And the last challenge was by Kieran Gourley.
Yeah, for a fellow who came into the game actually with a bad shoulder, Gourley has done very, very well in that corner.
Well, we've seen in the past how Mickey Harte just doesn't like changing things when he doesn't have to. Dewar picks up the scraps. More in the game in the second half. Nicely kicked ahead by Brian McGuigan, who, remember, has come back into the action, having been substituted before half-time. And Diarmuid Marsden has been stitched up, and he's going to come in, and it's going to be in place of Ronan Clark.
Yes, but it must be said again, Ger, that the play so far in the second half has been very, very disjointed, very scrappy. And again, you know, the key players need to start stamping their authority on it. I'm talking about the likes of McGeeney for Armagh, and again, around the middle of the park, the likes of Sean Kavanagh for Tyrone.
They're just trying to eke out a victory somehow. McMenamin. Cavlin. Ahead for Kieran Gourley. Has a couple of yards ahead of McEntee, closing in. McEntee wrestles, and the referee whistles free in. Busy afternoon for referee Brian White. His two linesmen are Paddy Russell from Tipperary and Aidan Mangan from Kerry.
Yes, he's shown commendable patience actually with both sets of players, and I think he's refereed it very well today actually. Just apart from that one maybe where he mightn't have spotted McEntee throwing a punch, the rest of his refereeing has been a lot of common sense.
That's kicked in there by Stephen O'Neill. Wide of the target. This is the player who was an all-star just 2 seasons ago, but a combination of injuries and then his form dipped a little bit and he lost his place. But what a man to be able to bring back in. That's McGuigan racing across there. Great decision to bring him back in. Stephen O'Neill stumbling. McGuigan comes. The boot went in. Play continues. Back out to Jared Cavlin. Tyrone needing a score to settle them. Won't come there.
Well, certainly they're destroying their period of ascendancy with that type of shooting. They've kicked a couple of very bad wides during this last couple of minutes when they've had a couple of good opportunities.
And some of those shots have been so unhurried. I mean, they were unnecessary to balloon them. Dropped by McGrain. Tyrone have it back. Good period of supremacy, and it's lost to John McEntee. Should have been going the other way, and instead Armagh can peg it back here. Tony McEntee, can he go for a point? Going through McMenamin, dished off. And that is another one for Armagh. And it's Diarmuid Marsden announcing himself on his return. First kick at the target in the second half for him. First point. It's getting tighter, 9-7.
And again, a mistake by Tyrone at the other end of the field. Good work by McEntee. Again, if you see the mistake, good interception that time. I think it was Tony McEntee or one of the McEntees. And again, punished very, very well by Tyrone, or by Armagh.
Well, they're identical twins, the McEntees. The only way I can ever identify them is John kicks with the left and Tony kicks with the right. Gourley. Again, Tyrone pick it up. Show a bit of pace with Stephen O'Neill there. Lots of steps, but it's going to be a free in.
Actually, it seems to me, Ger, that if Tyrone continue to run at the Armagh defence, they are drawing fouls from that defence, and it could be their most productive way of going on to win this All-Ireland.
It certainly is a tactic they could well employ. We're heading into the last quarter. It's anybody's title. Mickey Harte pacing up and down the sideline here. Mulligan to kick. McGeeney has been ticked off for that last foul. That's nicely directed by Mulligan. 2 points from frees now for Owen Mulligan on a day when so many of Tyrone's scores have come from frees. 7 in all so far. 5 for Canavan, who's now departed the scene. 2 for Mulligan. And there are 3 points separating these sides. 10-7. Tense. Can Armagh hold on to their title and do the 2 in a row? McGrain would like to think so. He was one of the stars of last year. Created the goal for Oisin McConville at about this stage in the game. That's won well by Sean Kavanagh. Another under-21 star outside to Kevin Hughes. Calm. Gavin Devlin always playing it away quickly with his hands. Doesn't ever hold on too long. Out to McGinley, who scraps hard. Into Stephen O'Neill. Getting good possession, good target man. McGuigan trying to worm his way through. Little block on the ball through. Cavalin coming in to chase. His boot went in, however, as Kieran McGeeney was going down to pick up. Free kick.
Just look at the number of players around the middle third of the field. It's absolutely saturated there with players at the moment.
This is McDonnell. If he can get the ball inside, given decent opportunities, he'll score. But he's very far out from target. He's taken 2 of them on. McDonnell, a real hit and hope one. Will it have the distance? Dropping in towards Marsden. Backs out again. Beyond McEntee. And McKeever. Paddy McKeever holding it up. Trying to burst his way through. It's not easy. And the referee saw an arm coming in. And there's a Tyrone player down just off the ball. There he is.
Yeah, there's definitely an incident there. I think a Tyrone player came flying in at an Armagh player and a punch was thrown. I think it's Philip Jordan who's gone down, but I think he made a run at somebody. I think it was at Marsden. But
it is Marsden. He's isolating Marsden and he's going across to his umpires, Martin.
Yeah, I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, but definitely it'll be somebody going off this time.
Philip Jordan is the injured party. Brian White now has to make the big decision. Are Armagh to lose one of their 15? And will it be the highly influential Diarmuid Marsden, who missed a lot of the final through injury, came on and kicked a point a little while back? But did he hit him? This is the question. Now, we can see the repeat of this. The referee can't. The referee is speaking to him. This is what happened. That's McKeever. Now, watch once again here. It went out to McEntee. Didn't quite see it there.
No, it's off the ball, actually. It's off camera, I think. But I noticed that Jordan ran at Marsden. I don't know what happened subsequent to that. There's your red.
21 minutes are gone, and Armagh have lost a player. 21 minutes into the second half. Diarmuid Marsden is sent off.
Well, we had said it, Jared, that it was coming. Whoever's going to foul next is going to be sent off. But honestly, I think in this circumstance, he may be a little bit unlucky because I felt that Jordan ran it. And now, again, I only saw it out of the corner of my eye, so I cannot say it definitively. But Marsden certainly is going.
Take a look at it again here. We may be able to see it from this angle. There he is towards the top. Now, did Philip Jordan go in on top of Marsden?
Well, that's what I thought. That's what I said originally.
In that case, the referee, not having seen the incident, consulting his umpire, may have been given the wrong information, and Marsden is gone, and Armagh, the champions, are down to 14. 10-7, 15-14 in players. There's a push there by Loughran on Ryan McMenamin. Mulligan, inside for Jared Cavalin, missed a goal chance about 5 minutes back. Dropped short, easy for Paul Hearty. Well, this is really now putting it up to the 2002 champions, up against this year's Ulster champions, their neighbours from Tyrone, Francie Bellew. Armagh playing it tight and slowing it down a little bit, trying to work their way into scoring opportunities. There's another Tyrone player down injured. Brian Dewar this time. Tony McEntee, the nearest Armagh man, wearing number 15. On this occasion, it's Aidan Mangan, the linesman, who's guiding referee Brian White, and Brian White's telling Dewar, up you get it if you try that again. I think from his body language he's saying, you're going to get sent off.
Well, that's the second or third time I think Brian has been down. Okay.
Oh, there was an elbow.
There was an elbow lifted, all right.
Yeah,
certainly.
there was. Kieran McGeeney speaking to Brian White.
Yes, and speaking about Kieran hasn't managed to get into the game to the extent that we expected him, or to the extent that our man need him, and the huge last quarter is required from him.
So the yellow card score, 3 yellow cards, 1 red card, however, for Diarmuid Marsden. So 4 yellow cards in all for Armagh, 3 for Tyrone. About 12 minutes are left of the 2003 Bank of Ireland football final. Oisin McConville, just 1 point, that from a free. John McEntee got an early point in the match for Armagh. I think it was their first. This one he spilled wide.
It must be said, Tyrone have the upper hand at the moment, and Armagh are not able to get into that last third of the field and actually punish them and, you know, have a penetrative attack that might bring about a goal that is so badly needed. You can see Joe very angry about it all.
Well, they've been saying in the past that in a tight finish, Armagh would prevail. Will they?
I don't know, but that's the second time that the ball hasn't cleared the 20-metre line and should have been a free in.
Francie Bellew with the challenge. Going down there is Kieran Gourley. That'll test his injured shoulder. Play continues. Tyrone temporarily down to 14, but that's because of the injury to Gourley off the field. Aidan O'Rourke. Armagh needing scores. 7 points, I think they'll field is miserable for their efforts over the first hour of the contest. That's a nice ball in. Here's an opportunity for Kieran Hughes. And the referee has whistled. It's against Conor Gormley. And Conor Gormley is spoken to. He's already had a yellow card, but this time the referee is happy that a free-in will do. And Armagh are bringing in Barry O'Hagan and replacing John McEntee. Last year, McEntee went off injured. Oisin McConville kicking and putting it over for his second pointed free. They tighten the screw a little. There are two between them. 10-8. Still Toronto leading. McConville with his second then. 10 points to 8. Conor Gormley, the one who was committing the foul just before that. And remember, as I said, he was on a yellow card. And if the referee were to literally to interpret the rules as they are, that would have been a second yellow and a red. Peter Canavan is preparing to come back in. They're using up the 5 substitutes very, very wisely as O'Neill storms ahead. And he kicks and he puts it over. Stephen O'Neill, his first point. What a substitute. We've always known him to be a terrific player, and there was a moment when a cool head was needed. He provided it and got the vital score to keep that length between the two teams, and Armagh trailing still by 3. Paddy McKeever. Oh, there's bad marking. Mulloughlin was in. Here's McConville, and it spills away and it's gone wide. It was a great chance, but the backs did really well. They covered back, they took responsibility, and they were prepared to put their bodies in where it was going to hurt.
Yeah, Conor Gormley got back very well that time. Oisin McConville tried to unload it to Philip Loughran. Poor hand pass though, and the opportunity went to begging.
This is great play by the management of Tyrone, bringing back Peter Canavan to give them the vital leadership for the remaining 7-8 minutes of the 114th All-Ireland final. They're using up the 5 subs now available in a way that many coaches have not done, in my experience, in the past championship season.
Yes, and I notice also they've brought on Collie Holmes in the left corner at the moment. I'm not sure who's gone off.
Collie Holmes is number 19. This is Philip Jordan. Storming ahead is Stephen O'Neill. Man who got that last point for them. Francie Bellew to cut it out. Played forward for Kieran Hughes. Back with Enda McNulty. Will he be picking up a second All-Ireland winners medal? Barry O'Hagan just in. This is the captain, Kieran McGeeney. And again they run into a cul-de-sac, and it's virtually impossible to get any kind of latitude. Armagh happy to play it through the centre. Tyrone wanted to play it out to the wings, use their pace and their numerical advantage. Kicked in by O'Hagan. 2 players going for the one ball, and it's taken back by Conor Gormley, linking up with his goalkeeper John Devine. Out towards Ryan McMenamin. Played away down to Sean Kavanagh. Showing the effort at this stage. Philip Jordan. Tyrone looking to hold on to their lead. That's a hidden hope, but it missed by Bellew. It's taken up by Kaplan. Here's Mulligan, roared on by the crowd. McNulty trying to close him in. This could be it, and it's gone wide.
Oh, what a day for misses from that full forward line, that much wanted full forward line.
Oh, heavens above. Jared Cavalin's going off. Peter Canavan is coming on. It's a Canavan for a Cavlin, but the leader is in to guide his forces after the misses. Those horrible goal chances that have been spurned by his team. Will he lead them over the finishing line now with 6 minutes to go?
Well, certainly I think they need a goal down at the far end. Armagh need a goal, and Mulligan is suffering from severe cramp.
The fans were suffering a few minutes ago when he plays that one wide.
Yeah, and a great ball that time from Cavan, who's just been taken off. Again, Mulligan should have put it away to put 4 points in it at worst.
Well, somebody could produce a horror video, you know, of the wides in this particular final, the goal chances that were missed, and Sean Cavanagh missed one of them. But it won't matter, because at the end of the day, the history books will record 2003 was won by one of these. Dooher. That's Kieran McGeeney. He's prepared to carry the fight. 3 points in it. Armagh looking for a goal to tie it up. Last time we had a draw in the All-Ireland final was 2000. And the bookies were saying 7-1 today against such a possibility.
Yeah, there's so much tension here. Normally you get tension earlier in the match, Ger, but there's so much tension has come into the game in the last 10 minutes or so. And another card, I think, this time for Brian McGuigan.
So that's 4 for Tyrone. It won't matter. It's about playing out the remaining 5 minutes of the All-Ireland football final. McKeever trying to hold on, trying to build a platform from which Armagh can produce something special. McDonnell. They're down to 14, remember. And this time it's Gavin Devlin is back, taking it again, out to Stephen O'Neill. Are Tyrone to win? Sam Maguire for the first time ever. They'll never have a better chance. Up against the champions, Mulligan's in. Hearty keeps a cool head. McNulty's available and can counter-attack. Still there'll be added time to be played, so you could be talking 7, possibly even 8 minutes.
But just look at the other side of the field, the number of Tyrone backs that have gone inside their 45-metre line. The place is saturated. They have swarmed back. They're going to make it very, very difficult for Armagh to get the goal that they so badly need.
Only one attacker for Tyrone. Peter Canavan's even back there. And the weight of numbers is paying off. And this is Canavan. And this is Kavanagh. Again, sturdy performances by one and all. This is the substitute, Collie Holmes. He was storming in training. They were having to tell him to ease up a little bit. He was playing for a place in the starting 15, which didn't quite materialise in his case. Line ball to Armagh. McGeeney to take, team captain. It reaches Paul McGrain. The champions need a goal. They need it now. McGrain kicking in for the 14 men. It breaks away agonisingly there from Kieran Hughes, and Tyrone can break downfield with Mulligan near the sideline, taking on Enda McNulty. Just need to hold. He's going forward like a train heading into the Ulster gap. Back it comes towards Enda McGinley. Doesn't quite carry. Paul Hearty. And again they're giving the onus back to Armagh. But it's so frustrating against the team with all the bodies back there.
Yeah, they get everybody back, and then the raiding party launches itself. And again, that time kicking the ball into the goalie's hand is an awful waste.
It breaks this time kindly for Tony McAtee. There's an opportunity. Oh, what a chance of a goal! And it fell to Stevie McDonnell. And it was Conor Gormley who denied Armagh a levelling up goal in a dramatic finish. What a block by a man who mightn't have even been on the field had the referee given him a second yellow about 5 minutes back. Stevie McDonnell was looking for another goal to add to his impressive tally for the season.
That was a supreme display of instinctive defensive work by the right half-back Conor Gormley that time. The way he came in and McDonnell got his body in front of it. He's down injured, but by God, if they win that game today, they can certainly erect a monument to Gormley up in Tyrone.
McDonnell is down injured. 2 points from play for the day. Watch it again here. Watch Conor Gormley. This is McDonnell, and there was the block. Brilliantly affected. It saved Tyrone. It may mean the cup is going to that particular part of Mid-Ulster. 1.5 minutes of actual playing time left. Well, they're doing the safety announcement here, but I'm sure as we watch this with Oisin McConville kicking his 3rd point, the important thing now is that there are just a couple of points, 2 between them. Still time to play, and Armagh fans will believe they can still do it. 11, 9 and 3 minutes of added time to be played. They'll have to live on their nerves.
Again, they must keep attacking. Tyrone must keep attacking. They mustn't become too defensively concentrated, or they could offer Armagh a chance.
The championship season has come down to this. The last 3.5 minutes. Sean Kavanagh, for the team looking to win the cup for the first time, denied by Kieran McGeaney. Dropped outside here towards Aidan O'Rourke. Held in possession by Peter Canavan. Free kick. That would have been a yellow, I think, had the game been back about 20 minutes back. It's punched out this time by Collie Holmes. Everybody is back, minding the house. Out to Brian Doer. Is he about to win an All-Ireland medal, when some said they'd eat hats if he did? Ryan McMenamin. Great play, just holding it up down there. That's all he needs to do. Back on his feet. He's got Gourley alongside him. Into space it comes to McGuigan, stepping up quickly, but in steps Francie Bellew. The wrestle tackle by Owen Mulligan. He's gone down, and the referee will hold up the play. But we're into the time added on. Yeah, 3 minutes to go.
That's cynical now, because definitely Tyrone just want to keep the ball up at that end, foul if at all possible, just prevent Armagh from building anything up.
It's a yellow card for Owen Mulligan. Chris Lawn is coming in for the last couple of minutes, and he's replacing Conor Gormley, who made that game-saving challenge on Stevie MacDonald. Each side has created the same number of scoring chances up to this point, 20 per team. If Armagh get a goal now, they'll deny Tyrone and they'll win the cup. What's to happen? Nicely forward by Andrew McCann. It's a bad ball, but then again, he hadn't as many targets to aim at. Tyrone have the men back. Cormac McAnallen's played a good game. Out it comes from Chris Lawn. Out towards midfielder Sean Kavanagh. Another 2 minutes to play. Dooher into the clear. Armagh could do it a score, or Tyrone could do it a score here. They might just get it. They have. Stephen O'Neill has kicked a second point. It might now be enough. A goal would still level it for Armagh in a gripping final few minutes. But Tyrone fans now believe their side, which has led from the start, will lead to the finish. 12-9. And the referee is calling across Peter Canavan this time. And he's got a yellow card. He's still on. The captain's there. Will he receive Sam? Will he win his All-Ireland medal? 1 minute to play. 79,391 enthralled here at Croke Park, and millions more worldwide watching on TV. Paul McGrain committing the challenge there, and another high challenge immediately afterwards is by Stevie MacDonald. The referee deciding there's no need for taking notebooks out of this stage. Game's almost up. I make it 30 seconds. It's at the referee's discretion. Armagh look to be out. They look like they've lost their title. Tyrone look like they're about to win theirs for the first time ever. The referee looks at his watch. It's with Kevin Hughes. It's down there into the space, into Enda McGinley. Tyrone hold. What they hold at this stage they will keep, or at least hope to do so. It's gone wide.
Well, this will be a sweet victory for Tyrone. To deny your neighbours immortality makes it twice as sweet. And to become the 19th team ever to win an All-Ireland, Ger.
They've done it! Tyrone are the All-Ireland champions! Mickey Hart has led a team through minor success, under-21 success, and the biggest success of all, on the biggest day in Gaelic football in 2003. Tyrone, the 19th ever team to win the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship. They led from the beginning. They've won by 3. They've denied Armagh. And Tyrone fans crying tears of joy. They're swarming onto the field. Scenes of absolute delight. How they will celebrate in Moy, how they'll celebrate in Benburb and Cookstown and Omagh, and all those wonderful places where Sam will now be taken. Places that I'm sure will enjoy wonderful moments in the next few days and weeks. Peter Canavan has led them to the promised land. He was not to be denied. It's Tyrone's trophy. It's Tyrone's day. They're champions.
Well, certainly, if you thought last year was raucous, it's going to compare with nothing but what you're going to have this evening. And again, the land of O'Neill, they give us such famous sons, you know, Eddie Jones, the Donnellys, the McGuigans, the McKennas, the O'Higgins, the Donaghys. Such a apt finish to the championship season to see a new team being crowned All-Ireland champions. It's a wonderful day for football.
What a day it's been for Tyrone. What a year. Bear in mind, they won the league here. They won the Ulster title here. They are unbeaten, and they are now All-Ireland champions, and Sam Maguire is theirs.
And they have challenged and defeated the old order, and I'll tell you, they have done it maybe not with the greatest of style, but certainly with some resolution. And again, credit Mickey Harte, credit Canavan. Such a consummation to a long career. If ever a player deserved an All-Ireland, it was him. Wouldn't have been his greatest game today, but he steadied the nerve early on, getting those vital points from frees. And again, as I said, the party is only starting, and it'll go on for weeks afterwards. It'll be mad.
It was a minor miracle, Martin, that Peter Canavan was able to play in the first place. And I know one group of fans, the Dunmore ladies who play in County Galway in a finals, and I will be absolutely delighted. But Joe Kernan has experienced the joy of victory and the sheer agony of defeat.
And that's one dignified man, let me tell you, Ger. He will take that defeat, chest out, chin up, head up, and he will walk away from it, no regrets. Okay, obviously apart from losing it, but at the same time, I think it was Tyrone's day from the word go. They were never led from, they were 8-4 up at half time. Again, O'Neill came in with some great scores in the second half. Mulligan took up the place kicking duties very, very effectively, and for me, I thought Conor Gormley had a very, very fine all-round display.
Yes, and that's the same guy who had a foul called against him when he was on a yellow, and still managed to stay on, and my goodness, was he needed. He was very badly needed. He made that absolutely brilliant block on Stephen McDonnell to deny Armagh an equalising goal, as it would have been at that stage, and is still. It's all over. But Tyrone are having the day of days.
Yeah, the way things panned out, that was the defining moment of the game, actually. McDonnell goal that time, who knows how it would have gone.
And you think, when you look through the subs list today, Martin, as we can hear, there's the family, by the way, in to share the joy with Mickey Harte and Paddy Talley and Father Gerard McAleer. But you look at the subs list, all these young guys who won minor All-Ireland under 21. It just goes to show you, Tyrone is not the biggest county in Ireland, but if the structures are right and you want to play football and want to play it really, really well and challenge the best, this is how to do it.
You look at secondary school football in Noma and Dungannon. You look at the quality under 21 and minor teams that they have had. You look at the quality club teams they've had over the years, and all of that has fed into a very, 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 you know, the top Gaelic football team in the country now. And again, it shouldn't be forgotten the impact and the contribution that Art McGrory made and that Eugene McKenna made, because they put this team in place. And okay, when Mickey came in this year, he invested a lot of faith in Gavin Devlin, the centre half back. He reinvigorated the likes of Brian McGuigan, who was in and out of the team. And again, he got an awful lot of football out of Gerard Cavan, who hadn't really shown his best form over the years. But the players that I'm particularly happy for are Brian Dewar at right half forward, winning his first All-Ireland medal ever, and Gerard Cavan on the other wing.
Right, let's go down to the sideline, get some immediate reaction, and our reporter down there among the crowds, Marty Morrissey.
Sean Kavanagh and John Devine, congratulations first of all on a historic achievement, but can you put into words for me the way you feel at this moment?
It's just unbelievable. You just look out there and you see all the fans, and it just proves how happy people are in Tyrone at the minute. We've been waiting for this with 2 chances, and it's proved third time lucky. It's a dream come true for everyone in Tyrone. Just speechless.
It's an amazing achievement. League champions, Ulster champions, and now that elusive All-Ireland.
It's great to get the league the last couple of years, but then it is the one we wanted. We always concentrate on this. I worked so hard to get us this year. It's all paid off now.
Well, John Devine, wonderful year for you, and you have another 21 next Saturday.
Yeah, I suppose it's brilliant now to win today, like especially with the boys. It means so much to the county at this stage, you know. The next Saturday, you know, we have to put it into perspective. I suppose it's an all-big game as well, and we have to be thankful at this stage. Like, but today is unbelievable. I think it's going to change our lives forever, you know. Today we're a made man, I think, you know.
Tell me the role of Mickey Harte, because he's a unique and wonderful man.
He's unbelievable. The man's pure passion. If we can do half as well as he tells us to do, you know, we should have done this here years ago. It's unbelievable. The man's just pure passion.
Thank you very much, both Sean and John. Back to you.
It's been a very historic and very dramatic day here at Croke Park. Not the greatest game of football ever, but who cares? If you're a Tyrone follower, you have beaten the champions. Just look at this moment here as Joe Kernan congratulated Peter Canavan just moments ago there. One of the wonderful moments here at Croke Park. And all those people, the portents of doom over the last 4 or 5 weeks, saying this is going to be a horrid final, they don't like one another, and all the rest of the rubbish. It's been shown for what it is, complete garbage, because quite honestly, there's rivalry, an intense rivalry, but we've seen today sporting rivalry at its best.
Yes, and I thought it was an insult to the two participants who have actually predicted that, and we called it before, and that we thought it would be a very, very good contest. Maybe not the greatest game of football, but certainly not having the acrimony and the kind of the poison and the venom that a lot of people have predicted.
So it's time for the presentation. Disappointed Armagh fans, but they will leave Croke Park realising that their team just weren't quite good on the day.
For the respect he showed the national anthem out on the field today. In Ireland, then Mr. Des Cowley, or Norah, the Bank of Ireland, I pay tribute to Undoyan and particularly St. Benedictine to our dual exiles across the waters. Monamoor, Egdal, Arvaka, outstanding champions in 2002, wonderful athletes and ambassadors and gallant runners-up here today. Cormahogi Arvaka. But Sam has a brand new home in the terrific county of Tyrone. Agus an éis tá sin antam chun Cormac Runner. This iconic figure who thrills with his football skills and so comes to an end a long, long way as I present to Sam to Peter the Great.
Sean Kelly with the presentation, Peter Canavan with Sam, and Tyrone become the 6th Ulster county to lift the trophy. Tyrone are the 2003 Bank of Ireland football champions. Our congratulations to them. What a scene, what a setting. What a night they'll have here in Dublin. What a day they'll all have tomorrow. And what a welcome Sam and the team will receive and deserve. People everywhere here, up on their seats. Even as I'm speaking right now, the fellas are standing on the desk next to me. Everybody wants to get a view and a glimpse. And listen to Peter.
It's more an honour due on Corn Shaw, Sam Maguire, a Glacu, Sean Foran, Tyrone, August our son Muncher Tyrone, Babaiklam Falcha, Sam Go Tyrone. I can't think of a better position or a better place to be in right now anywhere in the world than where I'm standing. Words will not do justice my feelings or the feelings of these players here at this precise moment. There are a lot of people that got us to this position. We have a superb management team and backroom staff. I cannot name everybody that has helped us. There's so many people have played their part, but I would like to thank the backroom team of Mickey Moyna, Jim Curran, Frank Campbell, Seamus Cassidy, Siobhan and Sharon, and Francie Gourley. The backup management to Mickey was Father Jared, our spiritual leader, and Paddy Talley. Whenever Paddy Talley came in as trainer of the Tyrone senior team, a lot of people questioned his credentials. Paddy, for the rest of your life, you can now say you created the All-Ireland champions. There's a lot of other people that I want to mention. First of all, the Tyrone senior teams that I played on from the early 90s, the men of 86 who ignited a flame that's still burning, and for all those players who played on county teams without success, this is for you. There's two people in particular I want to mention. Two people who played a big part in the personalities of myself and the personalities of this team. One person who would be the proudest man in Ireland if he's here is my father. The other man who has shaped a lot of these players and has shaped their characters and his personality, his spirit still lives in that team, is Paul McGear. I'm not finished yet, it took me a long time to get here. There's also, sorry, there's two men who have been with Tyrone teams for many a year, and they've played a large part in the makeup and the shape of this team at the minute. And they're great Tyrone Gaels, who I want to pay respect to now, is Art McCrory and Eugene McKenna. Our sponsors, who have shown great loyalty. Willie John Dolan, who stuck with us through thick and thin. You've got your moment of glory now, Willie John. It's normal at this time to slate off the media. I'm not going to be any different. They compared Tyrone to the British Army. Once we crossed the border, we had no power. I think we've a bit of power now. There was individuals on this team question, both management, players who they said had no guts, who couldn't do it on the big day, and so on. I think we've earned a bit of respect today. There's one man that I haven't forgot to mention. He's been the crucial link in these boys winning All-Ireland minor titles, All-Ireland under-21 titles, and now Mickey, you've managed the All-Ireland champions. Mickey Hart. It's been a great year for the two Mickey Harts. One of them became famous for singing "We've Got the World Tonight." This Mickey is going to be singing "We've Got the Psalm Tonight." Again, Mickey, words can't describe what you've done for me, what you've done for this team, but you know it. Finally, I think it's only but right that we pay our respect to last year's All-Ireland champions, Armagh. Hip hip, hip hip, hip hip. And I only hope that as players and as a team, we carry ourselves as well as they did and as graceful in victory as they were for last year, both to the players and to their management. I think I've said enough. It's time to take Sam to Tyrone.
And they all join in. Kevin Hughes, the midfielder, after that rousing speech by Peter Canavan. Peter, the captain, leading to Tyrone to glory. For the record, it's Tyrone 12 points, Armagh 9, and Tyrone are the All-Ireland football champions for 2003. We'll have more comment, more analysis after the break. Join us again.
Well, you know, you hear people talking about it before you do it. You hear people from other counties, and you know, they had their All-Irelands and they were able to look down on us, and they slagged us about there being no Sam Maguire in Tyrone, and that was, well, now we know what it's like, and it's the greatest feeling in the world. And I mean, the last 20 minutes there I've just flown by, but we'll enjoy tonight.
Well, Mulligan, is this the best day of your life? I'd say it, isn't it? It's a long time coming, and as Peter, you know, me and Cormac went ourselves to watch the 95 team, and my heart goes out to them boys. You never feeling like this in all my life. Definitely is worth waiting for, and plus
difficulty as well of having to eat a straw hat.
Well, while Colm's eating, maybe I could say a few nice words.
Do you like sauce, Colm, or
you're a man of your word, eat it, for God's sake. I mean, the reality of the game today was that Tyrone really ought to have hammered them. I mean, they had 4 terrific goal chances, McGinley and Kavanagh in the first half. Kavanagh a superb chance, and then, I mean, it really should have been rounded off by Mulligan. And I mean, you fear really in a way for the other counties, because at this stage, the way Tyrone played today, which was quite poorly by their standards, and yet they won the game pretty comprehensively, more comprehensively than the scoreline would suggest. I mean, you have a situation now where they have a superb bunch of players and a large squad. Mickey Hart has organised them superbly. I mean, the way they're playing and the resources that they have in the background, I mean, and it's a salt of the earth Gaelic football county, so you fear that they could start an empire now.
Well, maybe they can, but I mean,
will we ever be able to put them back into their box?
We would have been saying something similar about Armagh, rightly so, last year.
Yeah, absolutely, but I think that nobody who knows or loves Gaelic football will feel anything but joy at seeing Peter Canavan putting the cup over him. You know, he is such a contributor, and would have been a shame if he had been beaten. And strangely enough, despite the fact he was on one leg, he scored 5 points and ended up as top scorer in the game.
And played his part.
And when Stephen O'Neill came along, he got 2 crucial points in the second half from play. I think it was a dour battle now, the second half, but Tyrone won't care a damn about that. Now that they've won 1, they probably will go on to win more. But, you know, it's a great day for Tyrone, and fair play to them. Better team, should have won it easier.
Yeah, I suppose these teams don't come to Croke Park, Patsbillan, just to entertain us. They came to win the All-Ireland. They couldn't give a hoot if the winning point went in off Brian White's head.
Absolutely. In a couple of years' time, you'll read the 2003 champions for Tyrone. It won't say good team, good game, bad game. They deserved over the... They've been knocking at the door. They've been the most consistent team and are knocking at the door for the last 20 years. Should have won in 86, should have won in 95, and now they've got their day. It was a victory for... I'm delighted for Peter Canavan. Deserves his medal. It was a victory today for youth, enthusiasm, pace, and that little extra bit of hunger. They won a sort of game today that was Armagh's game, a game of dour, dogged, tough hitting, and they won that sort of game. And the frightening thing about it is that they're not good at that game, and they've won an All-Ireland. They're an even better footballing side, and if a team wants to open it out with them, they'll absolutely destroy them. It was a dog-eat-dog encounter. It wasn't a nice game of football. It won't live in the memory of most neutrals for long. But credit to Tyrone for a victory, and they deserved it, and like, to hell with it, it's how it's achieved. No one gives a damn how it's achieved. It's the results that count. It's Tyrone's day in the sun, and they deserve it.
It'll live in the memories of the Tyrone people forever, and for them, that's obviously the most important thing. And your mother, Anne, will be delighted as a Tyrone woman. You could have a half a Tyrone man as well.
Yeah, and I think really everyone will be delighted, because I was saying beforehand, you know, all this talk about, you know, the nastiness of the supporters and there could be trouble here today. I mean, it's a lot of nonsense. Like, these people really are the salt of the earth, and, you know, there will be such unbridled joy that any single man out there in the country wants to get himself to Tyrone tonight, because that is the place for curtains. Forget, what do you call that place down south where they go to?
Lisdoonvarna.
Lisdoonvarna. Forget Lisdoonvarna. Get yourself to the Moy.
I was going to say a minute ago that I was half thinking of going to Tyrone myself, but in view of those comments, I think I won't say that. My wife is probably watching the programme. You haven't rung your wife yet. She's expecting a baby.
She is, but you know, I mean, you have to get things into perspective.
But I think the Tyrone people too, you know, they always felt that, you know, people had something against them. Armagh felt a bit like that last year. And Armagh were sort of overwhelmed by the goodwill that was shown towards them by everybody, and I think it took them aback a little bit. I think Tyrone will be a bit the same. Like, you know, there's no hang-ups against them. Everybody, I think, countrywide will be delighted to see Tyrone winning their first All-Ireland, and even more delighted that Peter Canavan has captained the team.
Do anybody you'd like to see the game played with more? You know, us romantics in football, I'd like the game played with a smile. I mean, you know, Irish dancing was for years regimental and formal and so serious, and Michael Flatley came along. I think we need a Michael Flatley type to come along and say, sport is an expression of life, and, you know, it's got too serious. And
there's an odd concept now. Michael Flatley as one of Vicky Hart's selectors next year, maybe.
That's an idea.
But I think there's definitely something in that, and I mean, I think that Tyrone showed clear, you know, Tyrone were suffering a bit from nerves today. It was a huge hurdle in the
would you love to be able to say to a team, lads, and it's not happening.
They could have 4 goals, Pat.
Go out and enjoy yourself, express yourself. It's not doing anything.
I think Armagh sort of set a pattern of very intense behaviour towards the game. Now, you know, it worked for them, fair play to them.
You can never love that, Colin.
Yeah, but it's not the model for football. And that's not saying Armagh were a very good team, and they got the maximum ability from the fellas that they had. But I think on an individual basis, Tyrone have better footballers.
I suspect these 3 lads here could talk forever and ever about this. Three Stooges, as Pat said. I couldn't have put it any better myself. Time for us to go. We're back again tonight, of course, the Sunday game evening transmission, 9:30. Highlights of today's game, also the minor match, and of course, we'll be naming our man of the match from today's All-Ireland final. Well, it's been a special day here at Croke Park this afternoon. They've dreamed about this in Tyrone for a very long time. Today, that dream has come true. Hope to see you later on. For the moment, bye-bye.
With 2 neighbours pitted against each other, passions were bound to be high. In Moy, which borders County Armagh, some of those supporters following the game on television were from opposing camps, but any rivalry was of a friendly nature. The Tyrone fans thought of previous finals when their team's efforts had gone unrewarded. They fervently hoped that 2003 might be their year for success. 8 miles away in Armagh, the fans were cheering on their side in the expectation they could emulate Down's achievement in the early 60s of back-to-back title wins. The streets of Crossmaglen, home of manager Joe Kernan, were almost empty. But in a sign of the changing times in the north, some members of the police were keeping a keen eye on the progress of the Orchard County. As the game came to a thrilling end, the Armagh fans began to realise their hopes of retaining the All-Ireland title were to be dashed. The Red Hand supporters, though, had got the result they wanted.
Tyrone have had to wait many years for this triumph. Now they have it. You can be certain they spend a long time celebrating the achievement of winning the Sam Maguire.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, we knew Sam will get a new home and we knew it would be in the Moy. Congratulations, Tyrone. Well done.
It took a while to get here, but thank God it's finally here and we shall enjoy it, you know. Commiserations to Armagh, so we're good champions. That's all I can say.
You have to be disappointed, like, but still, Tyrone deserved it on the day, you know. Stronger, hunger, that won it today. Ulster champion, Ulster football win today.
So Sam will be making his way back across the border tomorrow. This time, though, the colours on the cup will be the red and white of Tyrone, where the celebrations are in full swing tonight. Michael Fisher, RTE News, Moy.
Thanks, Colin. I'm here with the new All-Ireland Senior Football Champions. As you can see here behind me, the party is in full swing. Captain Fantastic Peter Canavan joins me. How does it feel on Cloud 9, Peter?
Well, as I said earlier on, words can't describe it at the minute. Unbelievable feeling, something that we've waited a long time for, and we're only too delighted now to have got here.
And it means so much to the people of Tyrone, doesn't it?
Well, to say that the people of Tyrone have been starved of success would be a bit of an understatement. We've waited on this a long time. A lot of good teams have come through the county and weren't able to come down here and do the business. So to bring it home this year is something special.
And the best day of your life, maybe?
Oh, without a doubt. Don't tell the wife that.
I will not, okay. Brian Dewar, how do you feel?
No, it's probably a thing of dreams, so it is just a minute, and it's hard to believe it. What I've got. Hopefully it's sinking over the next few days. But it's hard to put into words what I feel.
And of course, as I said, as Peter said there, it means so much to the people of Tyrone.
It means so much. You see there after the match, the reception you give us, and even the reception in here. And for all these people that didn't get tickets through, I'm sure they're overjoyed at home. And just thankfully we give them something to cheer about today.
And Peter, it's going to be a long night, a long drive home as well with Sam.
Well, we'll not mind that journey. This is one journey we've waited a long time for. So the partying will go on long into the night and tomorrow night and indeed the rest of the week. So especially when we get back home to Tyrone, we're really looking forward to that. So it'll be quite an occasion.
And a potential maybe for back-to-back titles?
To be honest now, we just haven't started thinking about back-to-back titles yet. We haven't got Sam back to Tyrone yet, so that's our first objective, is to get him on the bus tomorrow and up the road, and we'll worry about back-to-backs further down the line.
Peter and Brian, thank you very much. With that, from a very action-packed house here in the Burlington.
Don't deserve all the credit for that. We had a couple of goal chances early. Don't deserve all the credit for that. We had a couple of goal chances early on. Maybe if we had got a pass a bit slicker, but at the end of the day, the best team won the All-Ireland today, and fair play to Tyrone. We have no qualms whatsoever. We're disappointed, but that's the hard luck stories of this game. You know, it's not fairy tale stories all the time, and we'll take it on the chin, and we'll be back next year, hopefully.
We played, you know, a lot better in the second half, but again, like, missed chances, you know, and I suppose it was going to be hard to get goals today. You know, again, I suppose, like, the critics say, like, you know, defensive isn't a skill, like, but, you know, I suppose we would look at it as it is, and like, you're trying to keep goals out, and you're trying to stop their key players playing, and I suppose, I don't know what the sort of breakdown was, but I think, like, we did that, you know, like, I don't think Owen or Peter, like, scored that much, but they done the same with, you know, with their key forwards too, and it was going to come down to, like, a battle, and it did. We just couldn't seem to break through. Like, you know, we thought at half-time we were well in with a shout, like, you know, because we'd known we had missed a lot of easy chances, you know, and like, snapped at things, but you know, they dug deep, and there's an old saying that the better team always wins, and I think that's true. You know, like, you can't look for any excuses. You know, at the end of the day, that's what happens. That's why teams win, because they're better than the other.
Well, I suppose it is as simple as that at the end of the day, isn't it? Now, we also took our cameras out onto the streets this afternoon after today's match had finished. This is what some of the fans of Armagh and Tyrone thought about the result.
We came all the way from Israel because we want Armagh to win.
I thought the referee had played a great game. I thought the atmosphere, I thought the Armagh supporters here. We had a great night in Dublin last night. We'll have a great night tonight, boys. It's coming back downstairs. It's coming back up north.
Into the second half, I thought we should have come back and started to dominate like we've done in previous games. But Tyrone, fair play to them. I think on the day they were the better team.
Good match, but the best team won. The Armagh fans are all disappointed, but good luck to Tyrone.
Armagh played well, but they seemed to be unfit. They didn't seem anywhere near as fit as Tyrone was. Tyrone was by far the superior fitter team. Absolutely brilliant. Owen Mulligan, the whole lot, every single one. He's coming home. Come on, Sam McGill.
Armagh came here today. We did not perform today, but next year I can assure you, we came here last year and we won Sam Maguire and we earned Sam Maguire. Today we may have lost it, but you watch the TV because next year Armagh will live Sam Maguire.
It was a very close contest. I thought it was a tremendous reflection of the strength and the football skill of both teams. I think it was very, very close to call.
It means a tremendous amount to everybody in Tyrone. I think it's a fantastic day for Tyrone and for Tyrone football.
Yes, the fans of Tyrone and Armagh, and of course Brian Mullins thrown in for good measure there as well in that little piece. Tony Davis, Bernard Flynn. At half-time today, Armagh were 4 points down, but I said to the lads in the panel this afternoon, that I felt the game was set up for Armagh. These are the kind of games that they come along and they...
Outstanding today, absolutely outstanding all over the field. And then outstanding today, absolutely outstanding all over the field. In their defence, they were really, really very good. Ryan McMillan, Jordan, you could pick any one of their half-back line, they were very good. Midfield, Kavanagh was outstanding. The forward, O'Neill, when he came on, was very good. If you're talking about Armagh, Francie Bellew himself and Mulligan, they were like two sumo wrestlers in around the square, but Francie Bellew did his job again today, you know, did very, very well. But we had a long discussion about this and a long debate, and it has been a debate about all our man of the matches this year. But Kevin Hughes was outstanding at midfield for Tyrone today, and what he does for Tyrone is that he's totally unselfish, and he let Sean Kavanagh do his job going forward. I thought today he was outstanding, and he's been very good all year, and I think he's our man of the match and well deserved.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the match, Kevin Hughes. It was a long walk, Kevin, well worth it. Now, we've also got here from the Bank of Ireland, Eugene Carney. He's got a cheque. Eugene, do you want to hand that over there to our man of the match? This is going to go to your holiday fund. Just take that, for God's sake. The bank will run with it otherwise. Congratulations. What about it, Kevin? A great day for you.
All I can say is your selectors must have been watching a different match than I think everybody else was. This is it's unbelievable. It's totally unexpected. I never thought that I would receive this, but just that we've won All Ireland is absolutely unbelievable. And I think there was 15 fellas that started, and the subs that come on, any one of them deserved to get man of the match. Like for me to get man of the match, it was all those players down there looking at us. They helped me all the way and give all the support, and any one of them could have got it.
As you say, there were an awful lot of heroes out there today. Can I just mention another one? Your right half, who made that magnificent block late in the game on Stevie MacDonald, Conor Gormley. That was some save, wasn't it?
Conor Gormley's...
He's saluting you, you can salute him.
He's exceptional talent. He's the quiet man of the team. Like, he just goes on and does his business, and there's not a man in the country that he'd be afraid of mark. And Steve MacDonald is probably the most dangerous man in front of goals in the country at the minute, and he went out and blocked that ball, and that won the game for us.
He sure did. It was a team effort. You had a great season. A season you'll always look back on. A season where you ended as a champion.
Yeah, it's been a great season for the whole team, for the whole panel, for the management, for the supporters. To be part of the first ever Tyrone team to win All Ireland is just unbelievable. And like I say, there's a panel of 31 fellas there, and every one of them is exceptional lads, and we're all the best of friends now, and this is for all you guys.
Listen, you did a great job today. You did a great job all season. Ladies and gentlemen, the RTE Sunday Game man of the match for the football final, Kevin Hughes.
Congratulations indeed to Kevin Hughes, and indeed to all of the Tyrone players for a superb effort at Croke Park today. Almost time for us to go. Just one or two things before we actually do that. I'd like to put on record our thanks here in RTE and on the Sunday Game for all the cooperation we got from the people of Tyrone, from the people of Armagh, from Mickey Hart and all his backroom team, from Joe Kernan and all his backroom team as well, who were absolutely superb to us over the last week and fortnight in our build-up to this year's All-Ireland, and it was greatly appreciated. Now, Tony Davis and Bernard Flynn have been with me here in studio. Thank you very much for your thoughts, gentlemen. Now, the one thing about today is that Tony Davis wants to point out is that in summing up some of the players who played well today, he forgot to mention Brian Dooher. You know, it's the first time that Brian Dooher hasn't been properly credited here on the Sunday game, but I'm sure he doesn't mind. That's Colin O'Rourke's hat, and O'Rourke hasn't eaten it yet. Leave it in Navan to him on the way home tomorrow. All right, that's our lot then from the Sunday game for tonight and indeed for this year. It's been a long season. For those who have battled it out to the closing stages, it's been a very hard season. Only two, of course, can have the ultimate award. Kilkenny are once again the champions in hurling. But Tyrone, for the very first time, are the All-Ireland football champions. Until the next time, good night.
Sam Maguire is on his way to a place he's never been.